actually. We're streaming to all of our stuff right now.
Yeah.
Uh, we're talking with my buddy Joel R. Magic today because we got a lot of Magic stuff to cover, Joel.
Oh yeah, we do. Last weekend was MagicCon Vegas, and MagicCons happen 3 times a year on average. These are full of a ton of announcements. And on last Saturday, I was sitting there at the preview panel myself, and I started texting Matt. I was like, "Are you seeing this? You got to see this." And I was taking pictures of the screen and firing them off to him, and he was like, "Oh no!" And he started back, keep sending me pictures. It was very exciting to see all this and to share it with you too.
Oh yeah, I was like I was telling you before we started, I have been in like little league baseball mode with all my kids playing baseball. And so that's taken up a lot of my time. And so when I got these, then I finally clocked like, "Oh my gosh, that's right, MagicCon is going on." And then I got all these people asking me if I was there. I was getting all these side texts because I posted your pictures and said, "Hey, I got these from Joel." I even said in the tweet, like, "Shout out to Joel for sending me these." But everyone thought I was at MagicCon, and so I started getting all these messages about like meeting up at MagicCon. I'm like, "No, I'm not there, guys. I'm just getting it through Joel." Oh, you're muted. You muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. Yeah, MagicCons are awesome. You should come to the next one. Everybody should come to MagicCons.
I did see there's one in Atlanta. I see from your Braves hat that maybe
That's right.
That's near and dear to your heart.
Definitely.
So yeah, I did clock that. It's on my calendar with a question mark. So we'll see. I would love to go to one sometime.
All right.
I think
Leave it in pencil. We'll see if we can get the question mark erased. We'll leave it in pencil though.
Well, without further ado, let's dive in because spoiler alert, I was a huge fan of Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings. As a surprise to no one, it started me off on this journey in Magic that has continued these last 2-3 years, however long it's been since that set came out. Joel and I talked about Ninja Turtles when that came out. Avatar: The Last Airbender was a really good one, I thought. But we're going back to the world of Middle Earth, and what better way to start? I know it's going to be the big news that all the Magic players are talking about is lands, right? Is that how that
absolutely
works? Yeah.
Hey, look, I saw these and immediately flashed back to the Ninja Turtles lands that looked very similar to these.
Oh yeah.
And
the silhouette ones.
Yeah, the silhouette, sort of like the team moving across the rooftops. That was the Ninja Turtles version. Here you've got is there a name for this group? The other group's called the Fellowship. I think that's an official title though. So I don't think this is the Fellowship. Is this just another group?
This is Bilbo and Gandalf. This is Thorin's company.
Okay.
So Bilbo, Gandalf, and the 13 dwarves. Obviously, I think for the sake of composition, they didn't do all 13 dwarves in here because it would have just been a massive silhouette of horses and heads,
in every single one. That would have been funny.
Yeah. So they've cut it down to like 4 or 5 dwarves and Bilbo and Gandalf in each of these. But yeah, so we have them setting out from the Shire here. So we've got 4 dwarves, Gandalf and Bilbo, or this is probably Thorin here. So Bilbo's probably this one lagging behind. That seems right.
Seems appropriate.
So, yeah. And then so that's in the Shire Plains. That makes sense. That's good. Island. So for Island here, this is the Carrick, which is where the Eagles set the company down after saving them from the wargs after they come out of the Misty Mountains. That was if you're going by the movies, then that was the end of the first movie. The Eagles set them down, and that's kind of where the first movie ended. But yeah, the Carrick, that's a landmark in Middle Earth. We know that the Beornings are around this area as well later in the story, and help Aragorn actually transport Gollum. I'm gonna try to refrain from the number of rabbit holes I go down here lore-wise.
Hey, no, it's great. Honestly, Matt, I was already going, wow, there is so much narrative depth to each of these lands. And I was just like, that's a cool spiky mountain, man. I love that. It's like an island. I love it. It's got an eagle. That's dope. So you going, oh yeah, this is where this happened. This is where this happened. It's already adding flavor. I'm gonna have to go and like really deep dive this. I knew Lord of the Rings from the movies. I don't know
Yeah.
The Hobbit. I've never read The Hobbit. I've never seen
Mm.
that series of movies. How many did there end up being for
They
that?
they made 3 movies.
Okay, so I'll go
I
watch
will
those
say
3.
the first one is, in my opinion, far and away the best. Like,
Okay.
the first one is a real, and I defend that first one especially.
Yeah.
Um, the first one is a really good solid film, that's, you know, worthy of being, in the same sentence as Lord of the Rings. And then, they start bringing in the elves. There's a lot of, like, padding and stuff. There's a silly love triangle in the second and third ones, but everything involving Bilbo, Thorin, and Smaug is elite in those movies.
Excellent. All right,
So
cool.
there's
Yeah, I'm
there's
definitely
some
gonna be
dang good
watching it.
stuff. Yeah.
That's been a consistent thing for me with these Universes Beyonds coming into Magic the Gathering is that I have, because I like to know what I'm talking about and what I'm looking at, leaned in, learned. I watched all of Avatar, for example, loved that show.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch
Dude,
all of
it's
Ninja
so
Turtles.
good.
There was like
Oh,
years
yeah,
of
there's
Ninja Turtles stuff to watch. I was like, I can't do it.
dude,
I'm sorry. It's just too much. And it's all over the
like
place.
it's like you wanna do comics, you wanna do video games, you wanna do TV show, you wanna do
Seriously.
movies, like, Ninja Turtles is
I
kinda
just kinda,
nuts.
like, gotta we had our conversation,
Sampling?
and then,
Yeah.
yeah, I just, like, tasted a little bit here and there, watched some stuff, like, that I had like, I watched, Batman versus Ninja Turtles. I was like, "Okay, I
Oh,
know
yeah,
Batman. We
yeah.
can," I'll get a little flavor, and, so,
Yeah,
yeah, this
yeah.
I definitely love leaning in and learning these worlds as we, universe beyond them into Magic.
Yes. Yeah. That's, the same thing for me. I was tweeting out, just a couple weeks ago that because of Magic, my kids were already super into Avatar. They loved it, and I had never really paid attention while they had it on, kinda, watching it while I was working on my laptop or something, and playing it in Magic, I was like, "Yeah, there's some pretty cool, like, abilities and stuff," and so I sat down with them and watched it because they watch it through, I wanna say, like, at least every couple months. They
Yeah.
adore that show, and I watched all through the 3 seasons. I was like, "This show's freaking great."
Especially
So
once you get out of season 1 and it picks up a little bit narratively and
yeah,
the texture
there's
gets a little
surprising
deeper.
depth to,
Yes.
yeah, the themes, and, like, Uncle Iroh is so awesome.
Oh,
This
yeah.
isn't we're not doing an Avatar show,
We're
but I'm just
we're gonna
saying,
get
like,
every universe beyond in Magic
yes,
one by one. Here we go,
we're
starting with
gonna,
Walking Dead.
and eventually we'll get to the end of the lands here. All right, so Swamp, we've got barrels out of bond. So this is when Bilbo and the dwarves escape from, the Mirkwood elves, obviously in their barrels. We've got the Lonely Mountain in the background here. Um, yeah, this one, like, I felt like The Hobbit, they kinda had to stretch a little bit more, like, with this one, like, it makes sense, and, like, they did a good job with the vibe and the composition, everything to make it feel swampy, but, like, they didn't have the dead marshes that is, like, the perfect swamp from Lord of the
Right.
Rings.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and honestly, I feel like it kind of works to Wizards' benefit too, because this is the final small set, and you're
Mm,
talking about making something stretch. I think that's been an accusation that they have had to shoulder quite a bit with Ninja
mm.
Turtles, with things like Spider-Man being an entire set. And it's kind of to their benefit, I feel like, that Peter Jackson and crew have already laid out a blueprint on how to stretch this
Yeah,
story into multiple parts, right? How to
well,
get every bit of juice out of this.
and I think the thing, that folks with The Hobbit, and there was a lot of cynicism around the films of stretching it out,
Sure.
but I mean, even Tolkien, he attempted to go back and rewrite The Hobbit to be more narratively aligned with The Lord of the Rings in terms of style, and, like,
Right.
stretching it out. So, like, there would be multiple chapters of just Bilbo traveling, further and further out with the dwarves. Like, he basically made it as far as Bree, and, having them go to Bree and everything before he was like, "Yeah, this is silly. I'm not gonna rewrite this book." Um, so yeah, and stuff we know from the appendices and from the larger tales, like, there's a lot more stuff happening, around this story.
But you're
But
telling
yeah,
me even the OG architect was trying to stretch this story. Everybody wanted The Hobbit to be a little bit longer than it was, it seems.
well, I think it was more so because he didn't set out like The Hobbit, he didn't necessarily set it out to be part of his Middle Earth,
Right.
uh, continuity because he had Silmarillion, like, if you it's I sorry, guys, we're going off on a total tangent, but he had Silmarillion on his mind for, like, his entire life, basically. Like, that was his big dream publication that he wanted to do, and, like,
Yeah.
that's with the creating the languages and everything, and then he wrote this children's book. Oh, it's, this fun little children's book, and things from Middle-earth kinda just, like, work their way in naturally, the way he says it, like, the necromancer being Sauron, it just kinda happened, and
Yeah.
then the publishers wanted the sequel to The Hobbit. Well, then he writes Lord of the Rings, which is in Middle-earth, and so it wasn't, like, set out to be The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Like, he set out to make the Silmarillion, and ironically enough, that's the one his son had to kinda, like, finish for him, but,
That's very interesting.
um
Matt, I feel like you invited me on to talk today, and now I'm just sitting here watching a really good Nerd of the Rings video explaining some stuff to me that I didn't know. For a
Right?
second, I kind of got
Oh
lost
my
there. I was
gosh.
like, oh man, hang on. I'm still sitting here. I'm on the show. I can't just watch.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying a Nerd of the Rings video. Thank you for explaining that to me. I did
Yeah.
not know that that was all sort of secondary. I honestly have always sort of thought that the Silmarillion would be what they pulled from for the next Lord of the Rings set. It makes sense to
Mm.
go with the Hobbit. They've got recognition there, good IP
Yeah.
brand recognition. But I figured that it would just be like a, Adventures of Middle Earth. They would call it
Mm.
something because they're not going to
Yeah.
make people learn to pronounce Silmarillion just to buy a magic set. And
I think they
so I'm
should.
assuming
Uh
I'm assuming that it would just be like, Adventures in Middle Earth or Return to Middle Earth or something like that.
Yeah.
They could and they could do that as a third set if this one
Yeah,
goes well.
I will say that, like, for the future of Magic, and I know we're talking future Magic before we've even covered most of the cards here, but I think there's plenty in the appendices of Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
that would be easy. I mean, they've already obviously worked out the rights with Middle-earth Enterprises to do Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit already. So, like, the
right.
appendices, that's an easy thing, and there
Yeah.
is a treasure trove of cool stories. I mean, we're talking, like, the downfall of Arnor, which is Aragorn's, ancestors in a war against the Witch King, like,
Oh,
stuff like
man.
that. Yeah, like, there's a lot.
Yeah,
So
that's sick. Well, and what
that
better place to put
yeah,
it than a TCG, right? Like,
yeah,
there's no other media, like, movie, TV, even animated. It's
mhm,
so difficult to produce something that's gonna capture these stories in a
yeah,
way that people can consume them more easily than
mhm,
reading an appendix of a book, like you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
TCG sounds like a great place to translate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when we're talking about Silmarillion, like that's something, that's been off the table because the Tolkien estate owns that and not Middle-earth Enterprises. So, like, it's this whole thing. I have a whole video on the rights. It's a crazy mess, but the
Yeah.
Tolkien estate has been pretty protective, justifiably so, of the Silmarillion stuff. I hope just as a fan that one day those gates open, even if they're just like cracking open a little bit and we get something like I think a magic set would be a pretty amazing thing to have be the first Silmarillion
Yeah.
official
Especially if they see the
adaptation, so to
care
speak.
with which
Yeah.
they've put into all of this, especially
Yeah.
these lands here that we're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to the lands. That's a great we've only digressed for like 10 minutes so far.
We're good. We're good.
So that's tangent number 1. Maybe we could count that as 2. So we've got the mountain here. Again, we got the dwarves, Gandalf and Bilbo. Um, Maybe this is the Misty Mountains that they're crossing. That's part of the story there, a big point. Um, and speaking of which, we'll theorize. Guys, let us know in the chat what creatures and cards you're hoping to see or you're curious to see. One for me would be the stone giants that they encounter. They looked a little rock'em sock'em robot is what I've heard
Mm.
people compare them to in the movies. And what those could look like. I'm very curious to see if they work those in. And then in the forest, we've got Mirkwood here. Obviously, we've got some dwarves captured by spiders. This is before Bilbo saves the dwarves from the Mirkwood spiders, which we did have Mirkwood spider as a Lord of the Rings card, by
Oh,
the way.
yeah, we did.
But yeah, we'll probably see more of those spiders. Next, we've got Tom, Bert, and William. These are the 3 trolls, and we've got a few different treatments here. So we've got the main card, the extended art card, and then this is a promo at Gen Con. That's on my calendar with no question mark because I always go to Gen Con. I love Gen Con.
Nice. I got to learn
So
that. I got to go to Gen Con. People
you
at
do need
MagicCon
to go
last
to Gen
weekend
Con.
mentioned Gen Con.
Dude, I love it. It's kind of like how you were talking. You had back-to-back cons. I do San Diego Comic-Con and Gen Con back-to-back, and it is so draining, but
I
so
bet.
fun. So fun.
San Diego Comic-Con's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I wonder what we'll have to do to get this promo card at Gen Con. Whatever we have to do, I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do. I hope it's not like win, because that's my weakness when it comes to to Magic is winning.
Well,
That's the
how did
only drawback.
did Tom, Bert, and William, tell me about them in the book. Did they escape them from through a riddle or something?
No,
Or I
no,
laughed
that's
when I saw the names, man. I was just
oh, yeah.
laughing that these were
They're very
yeah,
normal British names.
for a Lord of the Rings card. It was just like, oh yeah, here's Tom, Bert, and Will.
Yep, yep. Yeah, they capture Bilbo and the dwarves. Um, Shortly, let's see here. This would be before they get to Rivendell. Is that right? Yes, before they get to Rivendell, um, because they find the famous swords. Like, so you remember Sting
Yeah.
that Frodo has in Lord of the Rings. Bilbo finds it in the treasure hoard of these trolls,
Hmm.
and Gandalf comes back in the nick of time, like he tends to do, and essentially saves them by making the trolls argue amongst themselves until morning comes and sunlight comes up and turns them to stone. So we know that trolls, when exposed to sunlight, they turn to stone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's represented mechanically. I really do like this card. Plays well with a commander that just came out in Silver Quill. The new Dina has to do with sacrificing creatures. Tom, Burton, William here for 5 mana. You get a 5/5, so you're already on a good rate for a creature. Then you pay 1 and sack a creature, so that creature will die. You draw cards equal to the sacked creature's power, and then discard 1. So typically, you're going to net multiple cards off of that.
Mm.
And that discarding a thing lets you put stuff in the graveyard because you can reanimate spells. And so if you've built your deck well, you know, you're able to use stuff that you're discarding. So that's not really a downside per se. Then if they die, instead of just keeping them in the graveyard, they come back from the graveyard as an artifact or as stone, like you
Oh,
said.
okay. There we
So
go.
they're no longer a creature, but you still have access to the ability. So basically, they become a blank thing with that first group of text on it that says pay 1, sack a creature all the way through discard a card.
Yeah.
And then they're an artifact. Yeah. But if they die a second
Interesting.
time, they just stay dead because they
Then
have
they're
to
dead.
have been a creature when they died to check
Yes.
and get that artifact returned. Pretty cool design, though, based on the lore.
Yes, I like that. I was curious how, a troll turning to stone would be represented in the game. And that's one of the fun things that I really appreciated about the Lord of the Rings set was how well it adapted to the card game. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not, when people say adapting a book or something, usually you're thinking like cinematically and stuff, but adapting it to card games or tabletop games, like you can get really clever with this. And I love how often Magic is clever with this.
Yeah, lots of good top-down designs based on stories or character, but you'll always get some, or you'll also get some interesting bottom-up designs where they're like,
Mhm.
okay, how do we represent a thing that turns to stone and it's defeated?
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, Real quick, I got a super chat here from Noltho5. Hope you're having a great day. Just for curiosity, is there an update on the Adar video? Will you cover the season 3 trailer of Rings of Power? Um, I don't know. I don't have anything immediately coming for the Adar video. Maybe something around. We'll see what season 3 brings. I'll definitely do a trailer breakdown when they release that though. Uh, yeah. All right. So next up, this was a card that I was really excited to see what they would do with. Um, and that's the Arkenstone. It is like the big MacGuffin, you could say, of the Hobbit. And they really play it up in the movies too. You know, in the movies they kind of hint that you can it gives a dwarf like the right to bring in the other door. Like they kind of like fall in line behind you a bit. Whereas it's more so in the books, it's just a really, really nice jewel that, you know, my favorite fan theory is that it's a Silmaril. I know that it's not, but I still love that theory.
Okay, so very quickly,
Yeah.
what's a Silmaril, and like
Mm,
what is the implied power of
yes.
this artifact? And I'll try and see if how that's translated.
Okay. So this probably won't have been inspired by the Silmaril theory, but
Okay.
um real quick. Okay. So the Silmarils are these like they are like essentially you can think of them narratively as the One Ring version for the Silmarillion. So like they are the big driving force of like mostly a lot of bad things that happen in the
Okay.
Silmarillion. But they capture the light of the two trees, which is they have within them the light of the two trees, which is just like this beautiful, pure light that used to light the world, where like the Valar live and everything.
Okay. It's like a
They're
pipe
made by
contains a
yeah.
powerful light.
Yes, yeah. For this purposes, for like the Arkenstone, and it's because it glows of like its own accord. It's not just like reflecting light. Like there is a glow to it, which is
Right.
why it's such a popular fan theory. And again, this could be one of those things where it's like he had the idea for the Silmarils, and then he just kind of like borrowed that quality about it for the Hobbit, and not intending that for them to be the same. You know, that could be a remnant of these being envisioned as separate stories, and then they end up being within the same world. But yeah, so this is a treasure of the dwarves. It's discovered by um, Thorin's grandfather, and you know is lost when Smaug attacks and takes over Erebor. And so this is what you know basically the prized possession of the treasure hoard of Erebor. And Bilbo uses it to try to you know negotiate his way to a peace between dwarves, men, and elves, um, with mixed results.
Okay. So this card is represented. It's got two different pieces to it. On the left is the adventure, which is a mechanic where you can cast this little bottom left part of this spell, and then it gets exiled, and you can cast the other part of it later.
Mm.
So first, with the Arkenstone, you go on an adventure that's called Seek the Heart, which is go get a legendary creature from your library straight into your hand.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
very strong, always strong to tutor anything up. 3 is a great rate. It's a little specific, but legendary creatures are typically strong to seek out. And every single Universes Beyond nowadays is smashed full of legendary cards because
Yes.
there are so many named characters in all
Yeah.
these Universes Beyond, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing, this is the kind of tutor that will just get better and better.
Mm.
Um, then on the right side, basically you've got two abilities that are just like you get a little bit better generally. Your creatures
Mm.
get a little bit stronger and you gain a little bit of knowledge that you wouldn't have on every turn, meaning creatures you control get +1/+1. So all your creatures get a little bit stronger across the board. And at the beginning of your end step, you draw a card. So you get an extra, extra knowledge out of your library. If you want to look into the flavor of it, you're drawing spells from your tome. It's kind of the lore of you're a
Yeah.
planeswalker fighting another planeswalker. You've got a little bit of knowledge gain. So it just makes you a generally better. It doesn't really
Yeah.
specifically play toward any mechanic family, so to speak. which I think kind of fits with how you were like, yeah, it's kind of, it might do this. It also might do this. It also might just be a real pretty rock that people are like,
Right.
oh man, if I'm have this, I'm the king.
Yeah, yeah. That seems to fit pretty well. Like it's not the One Ring, which would
Yeah,
like back in the other set, like that was one of, if not the big chase card for everyone. Like it was kind of overpowered a little bit. I think they've banned it in some official like
definitely.
formats and stuff because
Oh
it's
yeah.
a really powerful card. Whereas this, yeah, I think that makes sense that it would just kind of elevate you and like make things a bit better for you. You're a bit richer, because you have this awesome gem.
Yeah.
Um, and this is our first glimpse at the book treatment. And I have to say, like, I was a big fan of the ring showcase treatment from the Lord of the Rings set with like the ring script, and then it had like a silhouette of the character. I thought those were really cool
Oh
cards.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were
From
circular. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I thought
yeah.
you were talking about the scrolls. But you're talking about
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
the frame. Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes. So I was a big fan of those, I remember from Lord of the Rings set, but this, I think, is my favorite treatment between the 2 sets.
I agree
Um,
completely.
so for those who don't know, these are seemingly based off an old set of paperbacks, specifically the Ace paperbacks of the
Not
Lord of the Rings.
seemingly. Bro, this is
I
one to
mean,
one. Matt showed
it's
me these and
yeah,
I was like, "Are you kidding me? That's
yeah,
exactly what these are."
that's
It's not,
exactly
"Oh, these are kind of derivative." No, no, no. This
no,
is a one to
it's
one, dude. They look
yeah.
awesome.
I mean, especially the red one, like, you look at the red one and it's like, "Oh,
I
yeah,
thought it
that's"
was it.
yeah, yeah. So for those who don't know, these are a set of paperbacks that came out in, like, I wanna say 1965, somewhere around there, and it's bizarre because these are essentially, like, bootleg. These are not, in any way connected to Tolkien himself
What do you mean
because
bootleg? So some
so
other
so
publisher just was
yes.
like, "I'm
So
gonna print these books, I don't care."
yes, yeah, exactly.
How
So
is that possible? That
Ace
doesn't make any
yeah.
sense.
So I have the backstory for you. So here's the lore behind it. So and shout out to Tolkien Gateway because I double checked my what I had remembered and they had some great details. So I'll share with you what I found out there. So 1965. So roughly 10 years after Lord of the Rings came out, Ace Books, the company, I believe they've since been like sold and are part of like Penguin now, Penguin Random House, but so they discovered this loophole in copyright. And because Lord of the Rings was bound using pages printed in the UK, they were not within US copyright because they had not been printed in the US, I guess, or like had not. It's some bizarre loophole. This is literally what it says.
Has to have since
It's
been
yeah.
closed, right? Like, they
Yes,
were just like,
yes,
"Oh,
yeah.
yeah, well, you
Right.
print them in the
Yeah.
UK, we can print it over here."
Yes. Yeah. So they were outside of US copyright law at the time. So exploiting this loophole, it says Ace Books published the first ever paperback edition of Tolkien's work for only 75 cents. And you can see on here really tiny, it says 75 cents. Um, and it said they sold over 100,000 copies and it was like super popular. And then yeah, so they since then, I would imagine, Tolkien's publishers then published their own version in the US and closed that loophole pretty quickly. But these have since become a bit of a collector's item,
Yeah.
in the years to come because they're just a unique piece of Tolkien history where, how you would never have that happen today, clearly. But to have just a random company say like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna take that text and publish it because we can." So bizarre.
Very bizarre. What I noticed though is on the actual card, you've got the Arkenstone pulled up for us here.
Yeah,
It says 75 cents up
75
in the top
cents.
left.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is
I
that
didn't
the
notice
exact
that.
same stamp up there in the top left that it's got on the book? High Fantasy Classic A2
This one
75 cents
says
5?
it says science fiction classic actually, is what this says.
Oh, okay. All right.
But they've adjusted it. So instead of the Ace logo, which is like an A with the word ace across it. They've got the ring and a big A here.
It's complete homage. It is just
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's
this is what we based this
yes,
on.
and the it says A-2, this says A-4, Two Towers says A-5, and Return of the King A-6. Yeah, so this is
Interesting.
I love these cards. Like, this
I
is
think they're
such a cool
gorgeous.
treatment.
Yeah, you've got the 5 there under the 75 cents, so that's your mana cost. That's the mana values will be down the left side,
Mhm.
obviously, for these.
That
Um,
matches right here. Yep.
you were holding up the blue one. You just kind of
Yeah,
flashed it for a second.
yeah.
It made me think of I want reprints, obviously, of some of the cards from Lord of the Rings. Like that's going to be a huge thing around this
Oh,
set
yeah.
is we're going to see the One Ring as a box
Mm,
topper, which we'll get to.
yeah.
We're going to see, I'm assuming, cards like Orcish Bowmasters pop up again somewhere
Oh,
that's
yeah.
hard and collecty to get, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Reprints of Sauron, looking at that piece you were just showing me there, like that would be such a sick reprint of old
Yes.
commanders, old legends from the main set as this new treatment. And they do that a lot for secret layers around sets.
Oh, yeah.
They'll do callbacks. One of the most recent times it was hugely disappointing that they didn't was Secrets of Strixhaven. We just had that set is basically fully out at this point, and we were expecting some Mystical Archive reprints in Secret
Mhm.
Layer with some of the new art or some of the old art coming back or just updated, new versions of big spells, whatever. They didn't do
Yeah.
anything like that. So I'm
Hmm.
very hopeful that they will do that because this is one of the truly high water marks of this whole announcement for me is this
Yeah.
treatment right here. I really love this. They've done old VHS cover treatments that have this,
Oh,
they
yeah.
evoke this same kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I just really love how they can make a card look retro right out of the
Yes.
gate. It looks
Yeah,
so
and,
cool.
like, the weathering on the edges, like, you would get, like, these books, you can see they've got the exact
It's like
weathering.
one to one.
It's so oh my gosh. Yeah, like, this is for me, like, and we'll get to the big chase card, but the realistic chase for me is gonna be for this full set of book cover cards,
What do you think
and,
of the Dragon Hordes frame there in the middle?
uh,
Yeah, that's what I
I
think
haven't really
too.
looked at it too much. Yeah,
It's kind of a,
um,
it is what it is.
yeah,
I
I
know
mean,
what they were going for there.
right, yeah. I don't think it doesn't land with me as well as, like, the Ring showcase, like I was
Yeah.
talking about for Lord of the Rings, like, that was, this feels more just like a fantasy-ish
Yeah.
thing with, like, the
So
dragon scales and
you can
stuff.
kind of see it here. You've got your 1, 2, 3. You've almost got your, baby bear, mama bear, papa bear kind of treatments
Mm,
of the same card. This one is in that frame family that needs to be more derivative of a true frame that you see
mm,
on the left, like a natural magic frame, just base
yeah,
frame, we call that. They'll have these updated showcase frame families that they still want to look a little bit like a magic card so that you at a
yeah.
glance you're still like, oh yep, magic card, versus book cover, which you look at that and you go, what am I even looking at, which
Right.
is
Yeah,
the that's the feeling they want to evoke. I was sitting in a
yeah,
room of hundreds if not thousands when they showed this on the screen for the first time and everybody went, oh, like
yeah,
collectively everybody was into it, but the middle
yeah.
frame was just like, oh nice.
Yeah, yeah. Like, I don't dislike it, but,
Right.
it's one of those things where you set it next to the book cover one, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, look at
Yeah.
that book
Which
cover
one
one,"
do you prefer? Obvious. And
Right,
it
yeah,
also is really playing into the Smaug thing, which before we move, since we're talking about this, how do
yeah.
you feel? Do you think that it's good design wise to push so much of the top end of this around Smaug? I wasn't
Oh,
expecting it to be
yeah,
so focused around that one, like kind of, it's a main bad guy of the book, I'm
yeah,
assuming, but
yeah.
like it's kind of not who you would originally think of
Mhm,
as,
mhm.
oh, that's gonna be one of the main visual representations of the
Yeah.
whole set that we're gonna lean on. What do you think about that?
I love that choice, honestly. I kind of, theorized and, like and actually kinda worried that, the card that we're looking at here, the Arkenstone, would be that they would try to, like, replicate the One Ring and, like, the big chase for the One Ring with the Arkenstone,
Yeah.
when especially in the books, like I said, the movies play up like what that allows Thorin to do and stuff. Whereas in the books, it's more like it's just a really nice, valuable gem.
Pretty rock.
Um, yeah, yeah. So like putting too much emphasis on that, I felt like would potentially be a mistake. And so the fact that they're focusing so much on Smaug, I love that because he's such a great villain and a villain that, Sauron is kind of this villain on the edges of Lord of the Rings. And
Yeah.
like, we get little bits of him, but it's not this villain that we have just this heap of great dialogue with that just has this huge um forward presence that
No.
Smaug does.
No, not at all.
Um,
He's a classic fantasy bad guy, but even in the
yeah.
movies, we only see him right at the very beginning for a
Yes.
few seconds, and then it's
Yeah.
like fingers chopped, moving on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, he's nothing against like the way Sauron's depicted. Like he's very effective as just, he's so big. Like you can't know
Right.
him as a character.
Yeah, he's better
He
as a
is he
presence.
is he is a presence. Yes. Just this ever present threat. And Smaug is more your typical villain where it's like, okay, we're gonna have to go up against this guy.
Yeah.
And I love it. And we'll get to like the big chase card. They use Ted Naismith art, which is amazing.
Ooh, I
One
wanna hear
of
about
my
that.
absolute favorite artists. Um, yeah, so I think leaning into Smaug is a great choice. My 10-year-old will love that decision because
That's
he
awesome.
was when we opened up Lord of the Rings packs, he was most excited when he got the Smaug token card
Yeah, dude.
out of everything. And it's like, you ask any random Magic player and they open a pack and that's gonna go like in their whatever pile that they may never touch again.
Sure.
But it was just a picture. It was like an art piece of a drawing of Smaug, and that was it. He was a mechanic in one specific scenario where you could create a Smaug token,
Right.
but he just loves dragons, dinosaurs, loves Smaug in particular. And so having so much of him in this set, I just know is gonna like bump his magic level to a whole nother level.
That's
Uh
awesome to hear. That's really exciting to hear, honestly, because as a person who, like I said, is embracing a lot of these universes beyond and different stories as they come at me and doesn't know them in advance.
yeah.
I saw Smaug as our like top of the line chasey type stuff when I was expecting,
Mm,
obviously, like you said, some kind of replication of the ring, or maybe just the ring again, or
yeah.
we'll see. And so I was a little confused. Oh wow, that's where they're going to lean the top end. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to hear that a true fan is excited about that choice. And I really like what you said about my 10-year-old is going to be super excited about this
Yeah.
because like honestly, that's a great litmus test as far as I'm concerned for did
Mm,
the universe beyond approach start working is if the
mm,
10-year-old is like, "Oh dude, this is exactly what you should be focused on." And everybody else is still satisfied with, the
right.
best and deepest most
Yeah.
complicated card game in the world, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Doing it
Yeah.
right.
I will say like our house is a unashamedly a universes beyond house because we
Oh
have
yeah.
dove into plenty of them and
I got
we don't
keep caps
yeah.
shielded right above my
Yeah,
shoulder.
right? Yeah. See? I mean, you're gearing up for Marvel right now. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's gonna be another big one in my house too. Like we're into all the nerdy stuff here, guys. So like
Definitely, dude.
Marvel, my 10-year-old, my aforementioned 10-year-old learned to play Magic with Spider-Man. And I know like that wasn't the most popular set, but it got him into it because he loves Spider-Man. And since then he's been into Avatar. We played some Strixhaven recently. Like
That's awesome.
he's going in the deep end because of Spider-Man, and it's gonna continue because of Smaug.
I want to shout out Jank in chat does say Jank is probably the biggest Lord of the Rings fan that I know that works with me on the channel, and he
Nice.
thinks that Arkenstone should have been the headliner instead of Smaug. So
Oh,
we got
we've got
Tolkien lines forming. Oh, there
we've
we
got
go. We got
lines
the
in the
little feature
sand.
right there. Look
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
that.
we've
Look at
look
I
at
gotta
that. We
learn
pull it
Restream, dude.
pull it
Nice
up.
job.
Yeah, there we go. I like this one though. The headliner should have been J.R. Tolkien himself as a commander. That's
There you
pretty
go.
good.
That's perfect. That's exactly what you would. Oh, good.
That's
We've got
pretty good.
Sora Slop AI in chat. That's that's a funny
Oh
AI
my
answer
gosh.
as a joke. I like that. Yep, J.R.R.
Yeah,
Tolkien is my commander.
yeah, and one of his abilities could be like to change his mind and
That's right. Go back.
do
Try to add
something
a few chapters to the Hobbit.
right. Yeah. All right. Next card we have up here, and there's 5 of these total from what I was finding online. These are dwarf language cards. Um, so entirely in Kuzdul. And I believe, is this Arcane Signet? I
I
think.
think it is. Yes.
Okay.
Um, yes, it looks like. Yeah, there's nothing telling me that it's not Arcane Signet, and that looks like an Arcane Signet on the door in the art. So I'm gonna go with this is
Yeah, so
Arcane
this is
Signet.
this is what, and this will be different when you go to watch the movies. In the movies, Gandalf just writes the rune G for Gandalf. In the books, he writes a series of 3 runes indicating that they're looking for a burglar, and there's going to be danger and rich reward or something like. I can't remember the exact phrasing, but these are the runes that tell the dwarves this is the house of our burglar, so go here. So those light up on Bilbo's door.
These I'm sure will be chasey type stuff, depending on where they pop up and how obtainable they are. Sometimes these are.
I
I've
can
got to
tell
look.
you, they are
You
only
got it
in
right there.
collector boosters, it looks like.
Got it. So these aren't even in bundles. That was the only other question I had. Is occasionally they'll pop up as like a secondary thing
Mm.
in bundles.
This is I found this chart online, a guide for card treatments, by Pappy Magic, I believe is the username.
I'm sure Pat
Um,
did their research.
yeah. So if Pappy's right, then both foil and non-foil versions are in collector boosters, not in play boosters or bundles, it looks like.
Got you. So these will
Yeah.
be chasey type cards. And they
Yeah.
haven't said
Sounds like.
yet. There's still a possibility, I think, that they could show these off as serialized if they wanted to go
Mm,
deeper with that. We'll get more confirmation of stuff as we get closer. I think they just wanted to give the first full look so that people could wrap their heads around what to expect with this set. They didn't go
yeah.
super, super deep.
All right. Next, these are in no particular order. They're in the order that my computer saved them as I downloaded them. So sorry
Perfect.
for that. I should have reordered these, but we're going back to some lands here. So these are Hobbit seasonal planes. So these are only planes cards. No other lands are going to have this, presumably. And it's the same Hobbit house just through the seasons. So we've got pumpkins for fall. We've got a springtime, summer, it looks like, and then winter with a little snowman here.
Little Christmas theme there at the end.
Yeah, a little Christmassy. Yeah, with
I
some.
I thought I heard in the preview, like I said, I'm pulling this off of I heard them talking. I haven't read the
Yeah.
article yet, so haven't locked this info. But I do believe I heard them say that we were going to get this for each of the basic types and have the 4
Oh, okay.
seasons across.
So multiple. So we might get these also for like swamp and island and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah. So
Oh,
they've done
okay,
that with,
great.
they had this with Bloomborough. This
Okay.
was a thing that they did there for the first time where you had all 4 seasons represented on all 5 basics as a special
Mm,
sort of art treatment. But yeah, these are
I
these are
like that.
gorgeous and more customization the better as far as I'm concerned. It's Commander's very much turned into the most customizable board game that you can possibly play.
Yeah.
The most expressive board, like self-expression. There's no other game that really replicates it this much. And so having multiple options like this, I can already picture somebody being like, I have a Christmas themed deck and now
Yes.
I've got the perfect lens for it. And they're just super excited.
I get very excited about lands. I am a sucker for land. Like I love the map lands from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Those were my go-to, and I, stacked my deck with those. Full art lands, I love full art lands. So yeah, the previous ones, I love those. Love these. I love the there's, it sounds like we're gonna get these for each of the each mana, which is great because I play a lot of red black. And so I was like, oh, that's really cool. I don't play white as much, so I'm not as like super pumped. Like I'll
Right.
collect these for sure. But yeah, getting these like I'm envisioning like maybe it's the Lonely Mountain during different seasons. I don't know.
Right.
We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
But I'm
And I
excited.
would expect that. I would expect that.
Yeah.
You can see that all of these are done by the same artist.
Yep.
That's very much the approach, I think, with these is, hey, same base, 4
Mhm.
times, 4
Yeah.
different seasonal takes on it. Let it
Yeah.
rip.
Yeah. That's great. Cause I'm sure, as they're doing these digitally, it's like, okay, here's my spring layer. And then it's like, okay,
Exactly.
go back to the base and now
Right.
make one winter. Yeah.
Right. That's a good point, is that they do have to do this art digitally, so you
Yeah.
end up with, easier ways of doing this kind of thing.
Yeah. All right. We've got another side by side here of three versions of the same card. Bilbo Luckwearer. And I was excited to see this title because it's one of the titles that Bilbo gives himself um when talking to Smaug, and like he gets he starts feeling very clever and like gets a little full of himself as he's playing word games with Smaug. And he calls himself Luckware, the one that kind of gives away part of, to Smaug to know that he's in league with the Lakemen is Barrel Rider from when they escaped Mirkwood. So seeing this card almost makes me immediately assume there's also going to be a Bilbo Barrel Rider card as well.
I was already in my head as you were describing it. I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is where they'll do the repeated character thing that is such a hallmark of these small UB sets and just
Yeah.
UB sets in general, right? They want people going in to open the characters that they expect to open, and if you have
Mm,
just a single card of any given character, that's just not going to happen on any
yeah.
kind of regular basis. That's going to satisfy people coming in to buy and play Hobbit cards. You know what I'm saying? So this is definitely the approach. We'll have the uncommon, rare, and mythic, and most likely Commander
Mm,
Bilbo across
yeah.
the entire set.
Which Bilbo's a pretty great character
Yeah,
to have multiple things. He is the main character of The Hobbit. I looked it up real quick. So for the full quote, he says that he's the friend of bears and the guest of eagles. I am ring winner and luck wearer. I am barrel rider. So I think ring winner, luck wearer, and barrel rider are probably pretty safe bets for magic cards.
I like that chat. Write it down. Matt said it.
There we
May
go.
6th, 12:50 Eastern. Got it.
Then we'll just told you so once we
Luckwearer,
get there.
Barrel Rider, and Ring Winner. I'm gonna
There you
remember
go.
that.
There you go. All right. So again, we've got the regular. We've got the what was the name of the was it Dragon
Dragon Horde. It's right there
Dragon
underneath. Dragon
Dragon?
Horde frame. And you can see here it looks
Oh
cool.
yeah.
I like the blue take on it here for a
Yeah.
mono blue card. We'll see we've seen the artifact version of it being largely gray, and then we'll see what a gold one looks like for the
Mm,
commander options for legendary gold creatures.
nice. Here we go. Smaug the Magnificent. And we'll get to the other Smaug cards. We've got more Smaug cards coming,
Lots
including
of Smaug in this set.
big one. Yeah. What did you take away from I've got the abilities pulled up here. What did you take away from this card? Since Smaug is such a big part of this set, I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear your thoughts.
So this version of Smaug is strong in pretty much any format. You maybe start losing potency in your older, faster formats, 4 can be a bit of a stretch in those, just looking at like legacy modern. So I'm not looking at this and going, oh, it's breaking the game in half. However, for 4 mana at haste speed, having the ability to deal damage to any target equal to the number of treasures you control on the attack, that's a nice surprise for just 4 mana. You have a legend here that without that haste word probably would have been looked at as pretty good, but with haste on it, meaning it can
Yeah.
attack the turn it comes down, it's pretty incredible. Not only that, but if you untap with Smaug, you're going to start to make more treasure. You're just going to get a treasure for Smaug surviving all the way around to your turn again. So
Yeah.
it's a really strong mythic that should see play as long as there's way to make treasures in standard reliably, so that you could on turn 4 when you cast this, hopefully, deal 2 or 3 damage, have 2 or 3 treasures on the battlefield. But in Commander, that's a much easier ask. You could have 20 treasures on the battlefield at any given time pretty easily in Commander. And so Smaug could represent a finishing blow. Like if
Yeah.
you have just been building up your treasures with a commander like Prosper throughout the entire game, and long ago players were like, we don't care about how much mana they've got. They've got a million mana. It could be a billion. Make it a billion. We don't care, because at that point it just doesn't matter. Now it does, because it's like, oh, my hundreds of treasures. Boop, I'm going to attack you for 4, and Smaug's going to shoot you for 100. You're out. Pass to you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Very
That's
strong.
awesome.
Very
So
strong.
yeah, I love that. I love that Smaug is to be feared. That's great.
Definitely.
And we
Definitely.
get some of the flavor text here. This is Smaug kind of taunting Bilbo. With Bilbo having been promised a share of the treasure. He kind of taunts him that, like, you think the dwarves are going to give you a fair share, and you're going to be lucky if you're even alive shortly. So love it. All right, and then we've got one of the most famous chapters of The Hobbit. This is Riddles in the Dark. So this is from the Riddle game with Bilbo and Gollum. Gollum making his return because, of course, he was in the Lord of the Rings set. I guess Bilbo was as well. I remember from the Lord of the Rings set, it was just like Bilbo retired burglar, I think was the card that he had. And I was like, well, I hope they do the Hobbit because we need to see more Bilbo. But here we have, we've been looking at a lot of creatures. We have our first instant here.
Riddles in the Dark. I'm interested in, I think so Magic Spotlight's going to be that promo, I think, is going to be a
what is
competition. Magic Spotlight is the newer tournament series that started within the last year or two, where it's sort of replacing the old GP model, which they used to have their regional tournament series. They were called Grand Prix for Magic. And that's what fed into the Pro Tour. They've changed that. They did away with them for a while, but they're back now. And I believe that these have RCQs. I'm not a competitive player. I don't keep up with the tournament side a lot. I'm trying to learn that side of things because I would like to be. That's how I started out playing Magic 20 years ago. Was a one-on-one competitive player, but now I'm one of these filthy casuals. But Riddles in the Dark, not a filthy casual card at all. You've got this sort of gameplay-y card. This is very reminiscent, if you're a Magic old head like me, of stuff like Fact or Fiction, where you look at the top 4 of your library, you get to separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. The opponent chooses one and put that pile into your hand. Very often, these types of cards will have the opponent organize the cards and then you get to pick. But Riddles in the Dark lets you organize the cards and they get to pick what you get. So they're going to see in the face up pile, if they choose that one, it's like, okay, I'm going to guarantee that I know what I'm giving them, or I'm going to guarantee that I know those are going into the graveyard. And like I said, going into the graveyard, like there are decks that people play
Yeah.
that want to reanimate stuff from the graveyard. And so this is basically like, yo, go get 4 cards and they're yours now. You've got access to them. It doesn't matter where they end up. So this is really fun, especially at
Yeah.
instance. It's so good.
And I love, it plays into, riddles in the dark, which is them trying to trick each other with riddles. It reminds me a bit of the Gollum, I believe it was Scheming Guide was the card
Yeah,
from
yeah.
Lord of the Rings, where you looked at your library and then like the other person had to guess whether it was like I think you had to tell them like, oh, it's a land. And then your opponent had to say whether you were lying or not, basically. Like they had to say, is it a land or a non-land after you
Yeah.
had told them which one it was. Um, that's and then if like your opponent loses, Gollum was unblockable as he's
Right.
attacking.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
like you could just like keep chipping away for like 2 damage if you just kept duping, and I love that head game, that I play with my 15-year-old is the one who's like huge into Magic, builds all these decks. I've since made him like start building decks for me because he routinely kicks my butt when he builds a deck and I build a deck. He's so much better at it than I am. But that head game, when there's cards like this where it's a head game, that's when I can usually like just frustrate the heck out of him because I guess I have a good poker face with him. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
um
These are the kind of these are the kind of cards that I think make Commander more fun. The more kind of interaction politic stuff that you can build into your decks, the better. I like
yeah.
to give multimodal spells to the board and be like, I want to use this mode to destroy that thing, but the other
Mm.
two, y'all decide who wants to destroy an enchantment. Let me know.
All right. We got another couple treatments here. We got another book cover. I love it. So we've got Thorin, Mountain King. This is a mythic rare. This might be the first mythic rare we've seen today. Or I guess Smaug
Smaug was a mythic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thorin's holding the Arkenstone in the art on the novel treatment book
He
cover card.
is. He looks a little like crazed too, which, the whole thing with, well, I guess you don't know, but you will know. He like kind of gets a little crazy after they reclaim the mountain. He's like really paranoid about, men and elves trying to like take their treasure, and dragon sickness is the concept there where,
Dragon sickness.
yes. So another spoiler alert, I think there will probably be a dragon sickness card, maybe an instant or an enchantment or something. So the
Another
idea
call.
is
We
that
can't, this was in the 50s. When was this story written? Can we call it spoiler alert
19
anymore?
1937.
Oh,
So
1937. Do we need spoiler
we're
alerts on the Hobbit
I
and
mean,
Lord of
I
the
was
Rings at
I was
this
gonna
point?
give people a nice even 100 years, I guess, so
Yeah. After 100 years, the statute of limitations
we've
is
only got
gone.
11 more years.
We're almost there. We're almost there. I can keep my mouth
Yeah.
shut a little bit longer.
It's a really good point. Okay. But yeah, so the idea is that a treasure over which a dragon has long brooded, kind of like laid claim and like been, he just chills on his pile of
Yeah,
treasure.
just lays on it.
It's why he has, in the books, he's got his underbelly is protected by all the treasure that has like stuck to his
That's
belly.
crazy.
And so the idea is that, this dragon sickness kind of infects the treasure, and Thorin comes under the effect of dragon sickness. And
That's cool.
so,
I can get down on that.
yeah.
Like
So he's
dragon
got
sweat.
yeah.
Like even at a base level, like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
we figured out the science. It's dragon sweat. It's not great
It's
for
the
humans.
sweat. If you wash it off, it's fine.
Yeah, it's just not a
hose
lot
it
of baths.
down.
No showers down in the mountain, unfortunately for Thorin. Sorry, buddy. Figure out some
Just
irrigation and some
hose it.
aqueduct technology.
Does anybody have a pressure washer? We'll get this off here.
Is that stone? Is his shield a big rock?
So his name is Thorin Oakenshield. Is his Oakenshield is his nickname. So it is
Got it.
a wooden shield here.
I see.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's a great detail. I'm glad you picked up on that. And
Oh yeah.
even more so that they included an oaken shield for him.
Yeah, that's a piece of UB that I've noticed after covering a lot of these sets where I knew the story lightly or didn't know it
Mm,
going in, is that the artists in particular, art directors over at Wizards, though some things do slip through the cracks, which we can talk about,
we'll get through. Yeah.
a lot of details are always in the art, telling the story. And
Yes.
so I've learned that I can really, if something seems like it was specifically put there or is a specific detail that is different than you would expect, very likely that's telling some part of the
Yes.
story or showing some part of the character. And so I look at this art for Thorin, I'm like, well, they spent time on that armor. That armor looks dope. Why wouldn't you
Yeah.
make a shield that looks as dope as that? Unless it's like his dad's old steel made,
Yeah.
stone made shield, but oak is what you're telling me it is.
It's the oaken shield. Yes, it
Gotcha.
is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this with Ninja Turtles. There was a lot of stuff. I mean, any of these sets that, like you said, I've had anywhere from like casual to huge fan awareness of.
Right.
You always catch these things in the art that's like, oh, it's that thing. Like um, we haven't seen. Sorry, I like blipped out there for a second. Um, we've not yet seen like Dane Ironfoot is Thorin's cousin. But I would imagine that he's gonna have a red axe
Yeah.
because in the books it's clear he has a red axe, which
Oh, I see.
wasn't in the films, but knowing how much they look at things like artifacts and stuff to include like the Oaken Shield, I would expect Dane to have his red axe.
Yeah. And
Here
I would
we've
expect
got
them to
oh,
include characters like that too.
yeah, yeah,
That's the kind of that is the kind of move that they have to make to fill out
right,
sets fully with this kind of thing, and so
yeah,
you'll see all your secondary characters for sure, probably your
yeah.
tertiary ones as well.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine. Yeah. All right, so next we've got a Wood Elves card. And this is we've got a promo Standard Showdown. So what is Standard Showdown?
Standard Showdown is gonna be, the smaller scale of what I was talking about. I think those are gonna
Mm,
happen at your LGS.
okay.
So instead of having to go to, Magic Spotlight Atlanta, Magic Spotlight, Spotlight, Albany, they'll have just your Standard Showdown at your LGS that you
Yeah.
can go
Oh,
to.
awesome. Okay.
The card itself, Wood Elves, has been around forever. It was first
Yes.
printed in 97
Mm,
with Portal. And this card, I believe, was shown off mostly to say, hey, look, old heads, there's going to be stuff for y'all in here too.
yeah. Well, I think I was trying to remember. I thought there might have been a Wood Elves card with the Lord of the Rings set as well.
Oh, very
Um,
likely that it got a
yeah.
reprint in that set. Let me see. It would
And it
have
and it
made
works out
sense.
well that like Wood Elves is a term that Tolkien uses, and who know I mean, that could have been where Magic got the term Wood Elves, like
Oh, very
Magic and
possibly.
D&D, like all these things. Yeah, one of my boys asked me the other day, so, like so was Tolkien, like, uh, inspired by Dungeons& and Dragons? I was like, "No, no, no, son. It's the other way around. I'm
Sit
gonna
down.
correct this right now.
Yeah,
Don't you
Jenks got
ever
it.
say that again," you know?
It was in the, this one was in the Elf Precon, and so
Oh, okay.
yeah, they had already shown it in sort of a Lord of the Rings type printing.
Yes. I gotta say, like, this art right here is one of my favorites. Just having it, camera looking at Gollum's face as he's just admiring the ring, and just Gollum's creepiness comes through really well, like the reflection of the ring in his eyes. Uh, I just love how creepy this image is.
When the power emanating off the ring, what
Mm,
artistry to be
yeah,
able to have a simple gold circle in the middle of your composition, and without it without making it seem like it's glowing like the surface of the sun, right? You very much
yeah,
achieved this look that Gollum is in a cave that is completely pitch black, but
yeah.
just staring at the ring and it's giving off just enough light,
Just
just
enough
enough
glow.
glow.
Yeah.
But you can also tell that it's an incredibly powerful artifact.
Yes.
because of the way that it is, pulsing, emanating this. Like, it's a great. I completely agree. The composition here is fantastic. I love the one on the right too. The one on the
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
is actually reminiscent, kind of a backwards callback of a classic Magic composition, which is
Hmm.
you can see it reprinted in the or you can see it called back to in the stones from Marvel in the first Soul Stone printing
Oh,
and the
yeah.
second one. It's two cupped hands. The composition is reversed. It's two cupped hands facing the other direction, but holding a jewel in the middle of them, in the middle of the palms. And it's typically used on things like moxes, which are some of the most powerful artifacts in Magic the Gathering, while also being some of the most delicate, light. Like they're very small. The most powerful thing is a very small thing, very reminiscent of Lord of the Rings there. And so, I love the composition on the right one as well, because not only is it encompassing what it needs to tell its story, but
Hmm.
it's calling back to some classic Magic art as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was just pulling up. I was gonna see if I could get us the sorry.
Vulcan Baga is one that just did the art for the new Soulstone. Um, has also done Mox Diamond, also doing Mind Stone as well, actually. Here, let me
Here, let
I can
me
send you
here, I
this if
got
you want to just pull this up. That is already sorted. I don't know if you can pull up a internet window there, but that's already sorted by price USD, which funny enough,
there we
that's
go.
what, yeah, there you go. It's like that sort of composition,
Yeah.
but in reverse. And so it's interesting in the, within a year of each other too, that they're using this double-handed
Hmm.
composition callback in two different Universe Beyond properties for two different very small but very powerful artifacts. It's like
Yeah.
the parallels are cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, now
And then
I've
as far
got
as
the extra.
power level of cards, My Precious doesn't seem out the gate as powerful as the One Ring.
Oh, yeah.
I will say the
Which
One
makes
Ring
sense. Yeah.
was sort of, I think, misinterpreted out of the gate or undervalued out of the gate. I think people were a
Yeah.
little uh, underwhelmed from the text, but
Hmm.
then when they played it, they were like, "Oh, holy moly, this has got to
Yeah.
be banned
Yeah.
in Modern immediately."
Right. That was the
um,
thing that I was like that where, having like I learned the game with Lord of the Rings, but was able to um you know learn fairly like got a lot of games in really quickly.
oh yeah,
And so starting to understand the mechanics, it took me a long time to realize like why are people freaking out about the One Ring when people started freaking out about how powerful it was. I was like, why? So it took me a while to catch up to it, but I like that this version, the Hobbit version of the ring, isn't as powerful because at this point in the story, we don't even know that it's the One Ring, and Bilbo just uses it as a little novelty. Like it helps me disappear. That's really handy. So, and that's all there is to it, really.
and sneak around. It's
Yeah.
beautifully represented. This is so wonderfully represented. On the left side, you've got an adventure spell, like we were talking about, that you can cast at instant speed for 2 mana, and then it gets exiled, and you can cast My Precious later whenever you want at its typical normal speed. The Allure of Power is a very similar card to effects like we've had a lot. You have to sack a creature as an additional cost to cast it, but for 2 mana to draw 2 cards, it's very strong. And if you're building your deck right, you don't mind sacrificing creatures, or you're making fodder that will let you easily sacrifice creatures. Then on the other side, for 3 mana, you play this artifact, 5 mana total for your first and 2 life to get it onto a creature. But then that creature is untargetable, meaning
Mm,
which is
yeah.
hexproof, can't be targeted at all because it's hexproof, and can't be blocked. So by other creatures, it just gets to sneak right through their blocking line and punch the other player. So it
So
can be strong. It will be played. I think that any commander that's even remotely Voltron, or is just like, I just want to protect my commander because it's so crucial to my
Mm.
strategy, and it's got black in its color identity. I think that this absolutely will see play. I don't think this one will get banned like the One Ring did.
Right. Yeah. But I could see putting it on, say, my Smaug, who's might be handy to make him hexproof and unblockable.
Exactly. Spoken like a true Rakdos player too. You said I like swamps and mountains. You just said I want to put my precious on my Smaug.
Yes, that's
Very
okay.
Rakdos of you.
I'm okay. I didn't know what that word meant. Rakdos?
Oh, Rakdos. That is a shorthand for the red and black color combinations from a plane called
Oh,
Ravnica. Years ago, they came out with this
okay.
plane where it was built around these guilds on a city plane. So the entire planet
Mm,
was one large city, and the entire city was run by 10 guilds, 5 colors. So it's every combination of 2 colors. And
yeah.
each got its own name and each got its own identity, mechanics, and that kind of stuff. And so a lot of times players that have been playing for a long time just shorthand the 2 color combinations into their
Oh,
Ravnican guild name, which is
okay.
Rakdos. He is a we're gonna tangent just one more second.
Yes.
I'm
No,
gonna
let's
give
do
you
it.
some magic lore while you gave me
Yes,
some
I
Lord of
love
the
it.
Rings lore.
I love it.
Rakdos is a demon that
I like
the
it.
cult of Rakdos worships, and they're very about showmanship and carnival and sadism, and it's this
Wow.
sort of like evil sadistic carnival. All of their magic has blood involved, that kind of thing.
Okay. So is that the red black
That's
combination
red
then?
black. That is
Yeah,
Rakdos.
baby. That's me.
We'll
Yeah.
do
I
9 more streams, and I'll introduce you to one
Yes,
guild per
each
stream.
one per stream. That's perfect. Yes. As much as I wanted to be like with the Lord of the Rings set, like get into the heroes and stuff, I was like, dude, Sauron and the Balrog and the Nazgul are my jam. And the Witch
Balrog got
King,
some cool cards too.
yeah, yeah. I love like the Witch King. That's the one that my son hates when I play is the Witch King. Um, all right. So next we've got an unexpected party. That would be the earliest chapter of The Hobbit, the title, and also, well, I guess the first Hobbit movie is an unexpected journey. It's playing off of this first
And
chapter.
the first Lord of the Rings starts with a party as well, right? Except it's a
Long
birthday party?
expected party.
Got it,
It's
okay.
the
I'm
long expected party. So he's
trying to keep up.
playing with his opening chapters.
I see.
So this is when all the dwarves show up at Bilbo's house. We've got the dwarves with all their instruments, and that's one of the things that is so whimsical and I love from the book is that these dwarves are going on an epic quest, but they take the packing space to have musical instruments with them, and they all bust them out, bust into songs. And here we have Bilbo in this art with all of their cloaks. That's another thing I love from the books, and it's kind of being referenced here is the different colors of their cloaks. Mentions like what color each of the cloaks are. Like I think Thorin's is a blue one, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah, that's one of those whimsical, fairy tale kids books things where they have all these different colored cloaks with them. But we've got 2 versions of this card, the main set, and then a Magic Presents promo. So this is what I'm going to ask you, because this is the stuff that I would Google as I'm like the collector in me is thinking like, okay, so how do I get these promo cards?
Yeah.
What is Magic Presents?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to Google this one. I was gonna lean on my
Oh,
chat on
okay.
this one. Magic Presents chat? I don't know that I've even heard of Magic Presents. This is just one of
Mm,
those kind of promos that I see show up at LGSs. I'm not really sure where
okay.
this one would come from, but I do know that largely these are available. I also,
Okay.
just looking at strength of card, this card is not anything particularly game breaking, overly powerful. Unless you're straight up playing Dwarf Kindred, this
Mm,
this honestly might even be looked at as a mid or a bad card. Typically, you can get +2/+2 on your creatures for cheaper than 4
Yeah.
and not restricted to a creature type. But I'd have to look at the comps and see what, exactly which enchantments like this it's overpowering or kind of side powering.
Yeah.
But then the at the door adventure of this, it's cool. You want to play it before you have the unexpected party hit the battlefield. So the order of spells is correct here. Make the tokens, then the anthem comes down the next turn, and you're able to attack.
Mm.
However, it's an X 2/2 red dwarf creature token, so it's not even X+1. I really wish that this was like pay 3, create X 2/2s, where X is 1 plus the number that you pump into X, because right now on curve, you don't want to play it on turn 3. The
Mm.
adventure anyway.
Yeah.
Like you want
Yeah.
the unexpected party to maybe drop early on a different copy of this in your deck if you have multiple copies and
Yeah.
play the second one. I don't know. It's just kind of I think it's just kind of a mid card, but if you're playing Dwarf Kindred and white is in the color identity, you're like, "Oh my god, I got to have this."
Yeah. So I looked it up. So for a heads up, so this is the promo is an LGS one, so you'll get that at your local game store. For those of
There
you who
you
don't
go.
know, that's what LGS stands for. So Wood Elves uh, is going to be part of Standard Showdown. Bilbo Luckware, that's part of Commander Party at your
Yep.
LGS,
An
and
LGS
then
event.
this one is also an LGS promo card.
There
So
you go. So speak to your
there you
LGS. Best way to get things like this, because they very much give LGSs the uh, ability to do whatever they want with these.
go. Mhm.
They'll say, "Hey, it's for this thing," but sometimes numbers don't make, or there's, they just
Yeah,
want to do things differently. So speak to your LGS. They'll have some number of these coming in and can tell you how to get them.
yeah. There you go. I do like that, we're creating dwarf creature tokens with it, like an unexpected party where it's just, as you're reading the book, it's just like dwarf after dwarf
A
after
bunch
dwarf
of them.
shows
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
just creating more dwarves, clogging things up is kind of fun. Yeah, especially if it's later. There would be a certain beauty to it if you were able to get, let's see here, uh 16. If you're able to get 16 mana and you could create 13 dwarves, like, that would be pretty thematic
Flavor
and pretty
win.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you could make a
Speaking
rule 0 commander deck where you're like, "Look, if I cast this one spell where X equals 13, I win, okay?
Yes,
Because I've
yes,
achieved the first chapter of The
'cause I
Hobbit."
yes. Now, this and I'm curious to know if you caught this when they revealed it. This is a Tolkien creature dwarf, not a
Oh,
token creature dwarf.
no, I completely missed that. I was sitting here examining the art when you were like, "Did you catch this?" Because I was looking for something. A
Yeah,
Tolkien creature, huh?
so I'm guessing that, this will be a series of, of among the token creatures, they will be instead for this set called Tolkien creatures, which I love that. That's
It's very
fantastic.
cute. Hopefully, it doesn't have any mechanical relevance at all, because
Oh,
I do not need in my life token creatures and Tolkien creatures that need separate
separate
tracking.
things. Oh, that's a good point. That is a good
Hopefully,
point.
let it be a cute thing. I'm never gonna complain. "Oh, yeah, that's
I
just
th
a cute
I
thing they
think
did
it
for this
is.
set."
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
just
this
say dwarf
says,
tokens. Okay.
yeah, dwarf creature tokens, and I think
Now
it's
reading
just
it on
a
a card, I'm thinking go back to the dwarf spell. Now I'm thinking of reading that on a card. Create X 2/2 red dwarf creature tokens.
Tolkien's.
That doesn't work for me. Count it up.
Alright. That's awesome, though.
What is happening
Um,
to the pillars behind this dwarf? Is that some sort of rot, or is that gold
I
vein, or
That's what I was wondering. It looks like damage to me.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because there's a chunk taken out here, so I'm guessing that's damage. Because my initial thought was, like, veins of gold, but they're in pillars too, so and this looks this looks kind of gross. Like I think they'd do better
Yeah, that's what I was
craftsmanship
like,
than
is
that.
it some sort of gold rot or thing? And,
Yeah,
I've already learned of dragon sickness or whatever, where
yeah.
he sweats on the gold and then you don't wash the gold off and you get dragon madness. I didn't know if this was some kind of gold rot. We can sit here and make things up for Tolkien
We
Estate.
could,
That's
yeah.
gold rot. That's
I will
a
say, yeah,
big
that's
chapter in the book.
gold rot. That's stage 4 dragon
Yep.
sickness.
There you go. Stage 4
Yeah,
dragon sickness is gold rot.
gold rot.
Your whole mountain's coming down. You gotta get out of there.
Yeah, get out of there.
That's
I
happening.
will say this is a handsome dwarf woman right here.
It very much is.
Yeah,
Very much
full
do
on
not wanna
beard.
cross
I
her.
love it.
Yeah,
I
like,
love that, there's so many. I feel like, sometimes people are afraid to do the proper dwarf woman thing and give him a beard, and like this lady's got a handsome beard.
this is
So
how we do it.
yeah,
Absolutely revered in dwarven culture and society right there. Very
that's right.
powerful beard.
Oh, so we've got okay, so we saw Luckware a bit earlier. We've got another one. This is a mythic rare, Bilbo Thief in the Night.
Always freaky when a mythic is only 2 mana, Matt. You gotta always look at mythics that are 1 and 2 mana and
Mm,
go, "Uh-oh, what happened here? Is this one gonna break the game in half?" Spells you
yeah,
cast
so
from anywhere other than your hand, 1 less to cast. Cost reduction and any spell not being reduced, like typically a card like this would say instants and sorceries you cast from anywhere other. Artifacts, that would be pretty thematic with Bilbo, but this says spells, anything you cast
mm.
anywhere other than your hand, 1 less. Pretty sick. Then you get to cast an artifact, instant or sorcery from your graveyard on the attack. Luckily, it exiles the instant or sorcery because being able to recast it over and over again would be broken. But still a very strong card. You just got to get a little bit of protection on Bilbo. Thief in the Night, maybe my precious. Can't be blocked
Um,
all of a sudden. You're recasting quickly, easily.
oh, there you go. We see artwork wise for lore purposes, we've got Bilbo's got the Arkenstone here. So this is presumably when he's heading out in the middle of the night to deliver the Arkenstone to Bard and Thranduil to help them negotiate with Thorin and hopefully prevent a battle. Is what we see going on here. So yeah, another Bilbo card. Next we've got box toppers.
Hmm.
Let's talk box toppers. This
Yeah.
is like the Surge foil version, by the way. So like the texture here is representative of Surge foil. There's regular versions of these as well.
Yeah. The surges will be highly, highly desired.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, let's first go into what a box topper is for folks who maybe don't remember that from they had these for Lord of the Rings as well.
Yes, these
Um,
have been a thing quite often. Sometimes they have buy a box promos, sometimes they have box toppers. Box toppers are little 1 card packs most often that I'm looking to see if I happen to have an example right around me within grasp. Nope. When you open up a draft box, which is the bigger booster boxes of the
mhm,
sets, there will be a box size kind of like cardboard card on there with a single card pack attached to that for safety. So you will then, with the box topper, have a 1 shot at one of the promo cards if you buy a box or somehow you're getting the pack
mhm.
out of the box. So they're every single box of Lord of the Rings, basically, play boxes, draft boxes, are going to have a single card pack and then that's a shot at a promo. This is unfortunately where it looks like we're only going to get the One Ring reprint. I'm still very hopeful that we get a special One Ring reprint treatment in that novel book
Yeah.
promo. I'm really very hopeful that that's in collector boosters. I don't know why you wouldn't want some of your best cards from the first set in your best treatment, I think, that they've had
Yeah.
in Lord of the Rings so far. So seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
But you're also going to have shots at what we've seen so far here, Sauron Dark Lord, which will be desirable. And then Tom Bombadil, which I think people will want, but it also
Yeah.
shows the I'll say the wide range of value and desirability that can be opened in this pack. There's quite a difference between pulling a Surge Foil One Ring stolen
Yes.
artwork or not, and pulling a Surge Foil Tom Bombadil. Not as fun.
Yeah. From a character lore perspective, I do really like Tom Bombadil. I
Yeah,
always loved Tom Bombadil. I will
beloved, and that
say
artwork is cool too, right? I
it is
recognize
cool artwork, yeah.
that
Like,
style. I think is
yeah. I
sort of
wish his
reminiscent.
boots were more yellow, like, they look brown, and we know
Tank just said that in chat. He goes, "Tom doesn't have
did
yellow
he?
boots. Why?"
That's a good question. He's got, like, brown boots, like, come on, guys, you
Hmm.
know? Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow, and, like, his pants look more yellow than his boots do, like, we need to flip-flop those. But I do love, like, his hat with the feathers. That's how it was, that color scheme was in, the regular version of the card in the last set.
Yeah.
Sauron looks a fair amount different. He's bigger and beefier in
Looks
this, I noticed.
looks gruesome. Looks almost like a
Yeah.
demon or some kind of
Yes, he
ogre.
does.
It
Yeah.
is a very interesting take on Sauron because this is presumably the one time we see him physicalized in the movies that I was talking about at the
Mhm.
very, very beginning in that
Y
last battle. But even there, it was like almost like a black hole had gotten into a suit of armor, right? Is he
Yeah.
was represented as sort of this energy that was sucking everything in the world toward him, but was also this incredibly, 3 humans tall
Yes.
creature walking around the
Yeah.
suit of armor, really walking around the battlefield.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to compete. Yeah, Dobby, this could be a Warhammer 40K card. He does kind of
It
look like a
does kind of look
Warhammer
like
character.
40K, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah, it does. Oh my gosh. Now I won't be able to unsee that
Yeah. Put a
now.
big assault
Um,
rifle in his arms.
right? um, but I will say, like, the films, I feel like, just nailed Sauron's look so well. It's
Yeah.
hard to, like, come up with something that is noticeably different, not derivative of that, and as good as that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a really tall task. I do like that this kind of evokes to me, like, 70s fantasy Tolkien art that you might see,
Yeah.
maybe not for Sauron himself, but this looks like a 70s, I'm blanking on some of the names from around that time, but you see some of those 70s artworks of Tolkien stuff is pretty out there and wild. And so I kind of like it in that sense. Again, like the movie version of Sauron is kind of the peak for me, but even the last set, it was clear that they were doing something very different, and I like that they were going for it.
Yeah.
Going for something different and not just deriving from the movies.
It's
Um,
interesting with that Sauron. There was an image that I saw going viral recently of Tolkien's art of Sauron. I saw it going
oh,
viral on the internet. Looks kind of like almost like a bird silhouette with this long outreached hand kind of reaching
yeah.
across the land. And someone is like, "Oh, this is the only way that Tolkien ever saw Sauron. This was his only art
Mm,
of the thing." I think
yeah,
did he
and
do
it's
that a lot? Did he draw his own
so
characters,
oh,
or
yeah, he
is he
did.
an
He
artist?
has some beautiful watercolor stuff.
Man, I would have loved to have seen that on some of these
Yeah,
treatments, like, get his actual art.
dude.
Is that a legality thing? Are we back to the battle lines?
That's a good question. That would probably, yeah, that would
That'd
that
be
would be a
super
question
sick.
for some
Open up some
lawyers, but
Tolkien art on
dude,
Lord of the
if you
Rings
got
card.
actual, because they've made in recent years, they've released illustrated by the author editions of Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, and Silmarillion.
Alright,
And so,
Wizards, if you're watching this, when we go for
dude,
Silmarillion or Lord of the Rings Electric Boogaloo 3, whatever you wanna do, we
the
go get the
appendices,
Tolkien art. I wanna
Lord of the
see
Rings
Tolkien as
appendices.
a credited artist on a Magic card. That's been one of the coolest things
Ooh.
of the Marvel advent, has been seeing comic book artists as credited Magic the Gathering artists. I wanna see Tolkien, that would be so tight.
What if they did, like, the gold signature, like, the
East
Kevin Eastman things?
Yes.
and they had the Tolkien signature is pretty iconic.
I was gonna say, does he have like a auto pen
Yes.
signature that's like
Yeah,
crazy looking? Yeah.
it looks fantastic, and it's on the cover of a lot of like
You can
there's
have that one for free,
yeah.
Wizards. That one's all
There we
yours.
go.
You can have it.
Just
Go use
make
it.
it happen. Go do it. Man, that would be all. I'm getting so excited now just thinking like Tolkien treatments of cards. Oh my gosh.
We're in on it. We're in on it.
We're in on
We
it.
can design the third one.
I think we could. And the fourth one, and we'll just keep going. Yeah, and then the One Ring, that was obviously the big chase card from last time around.
Yep.
It's got a whole like we're not gonna belabor it. Obviously, if you want to read up on the situation with this card,
Yeah, I'll be making a whole video very soon. Kind of
I
breaking it all
figured you
down.
probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say shout out to and if I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, Marta Nael,
Yeah.
who did the original scene, because I love that scene. Like the scene cards from Lord of the Rings are pretty phenomenal. And this one, the ring here, is from their scene card with Gollum like outstretched arm
Mm-hmm.
going for the ring. And like that's my favorite version of the One Ring card from the Lord of the Rings set. So shout out to them because they did a great job, and so great that it's showing up here again.
Yeah,
We'll
showing
say
up
that.
here again. Different name on the bottom.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar, there was a little bit of a controversy with some stolen, reused art assets. It's kind of developing still. I just got back from DoubleCon weekends, and I've been exhausted, so it's as good an excuse as any. But it's also a story that's kind of still developing, and so
Yeah.
I'm just sort of waiting to see where it all falls out. If
Yeah.
everything that has come out is the end of it, because it has taken multiple different forms,
Mhm.
whose art it was and who stole from who and who reused what and how it was created. Just so many different aspects that have come out over the past few days.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty crazy. What was crazy was for that to happen on a Friday and then to be playing Magic Saturday night in a conference room at a hotel, and the lead PR guy for Wizards walk in and just kind of like once over the room and look at everybody. And I was like, man, he's been dealing with hell this weekend.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. Yeah. So, e yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there'll be more details, like Joel said, it's a ongoing thing, so we won't belabor it here. There's plenty you can read online, and Joel will break it down for us. That's where I go to when I wanna, like, "Okay, what's the real story going on here?" I'm like, "Does Joel have a video about it yet?" "Nope." "Okay, then I'll wait for Joel's video."
You know what I've been
Um,
doing is working on assets that move the ring, like move it directly over each other and like,
oh, to see
50%ed sort
yeah,
of, so that we
opacity
can,
and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. So that we can one-to-one compare them. And I got to tell
Yeah,
you, it's kind of crazy.
it is. Yeah, yeah. Um All right, so finally, we have the star of the show, so
Oh
to
yeah.
speak, himself, Smaug the Magnificent. We looked at his regular card before. Here we've got the dragon in the dragon treatment, in the dragon horde treatment.
I
And then,
love
of
that one.
course, yeah, this one's pretty awesome, I will say. Like, depending on the card, I've found, this is kind of what solidified it for me, where like depending on the card, this is a pretty awesome treatment.
Yeah.
It doesn't always like fit with the dragon scales and something else. I also want to point out, I just noticed this. In the dragon treatment, there's a scale missing because Smaug has a weak spot in his belly, and that's where he gets shot and killed by
Wait,
the black
hang on.
arrow.
Go check the others. We need to go back just really
Okay.
quick, chat. Indulge us
See,
for a second, because if there's a missing scale,
oh,
oh
there's
yeah,
not.
dude, just
There's
in that
not.
one,
It's
that's a
just on the
nice
Smaug one.
touch.
Look at that.
That's a nice touch, art director. Good points.
I like
Good
that.
points. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Oh
That is
man.
fantastic.
Yeah, so real quick, this is by John Tiedrick, the one in the dragon frame.
Yeah, right here.
Diedrich did a lot of dragons for Tarkir Dragonstorm
Mm.
and for Final Fantasy. Did the Hellkite Tyrant reprint in Final Fantasy. If you've seen Mirkwood Bats, the original
Oh, yeah.
John Tiedrick, this is their art as well. So the titular, like the base art for Mirkwood Bats, not the scene art.
Mhm.
The base art from Mirkwood Bats is him as well. Just
That's
a
awesome.
long time artist. Last few years anyway has been really crushing it. Did a lot of Duskmourn, did a lot of Lord of the Rings as well. The Last March of the Ents base copy, same
Oh,
art.
I love that card.
Yeah, that
Love it.
that's Tiedrick art as well. I just wanted to call out them reusing a artist that did such a great job the first time
Yeah,
around and has been killing it and just across the board.
that is awesome. This is my favorite so far of the dragon
Dude, that
horde
touch of
treatment,
having the
and,
scale
like,
out is
having the scale
insane.
missing
So
is so
that's
good.
lore, like, he had a scale missing and that's how they got
So,
him?
it's in the book. In the movie, he has a scale missing. In the book, it's like a hole in, like I mentioned, all the treasure that's, like,
Yeah.
stuck to his stomach. But yeah, there's a weak spot where, like, there's no, like, treasure sticking there. Um, but it's representing still that weak spot
Yeah.
in his stomach. I still think, like, I'm still giving mad props for that
Oh, it's
because
a
that's
nice touch.
fantastic. That
Nice
is such a
touch.
nice touch. Shout out also, Smaug is a proper dragon, folks. For those of you who, like, get really into dragons versus wyverns, he's a proper dragon with 4 legs. I don't know if you're familiar with this, Joel?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So a wyvern has the 2 front legs are part of the wings. So Smaug, as you will
Oh,
see
okay.
him in the films, his 2 front legs are, like, up here attached to his wings. So, like, they're wing/legs.
Okay, got it. So you kinda the wing that's almost like elbows is kinda
Yes.
how they
Right.
ends up moving.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah.
Whereas
So they got that wrong in
traditionally
the movies, huh?
yes, a dragon has 4 legs plus wings.
Peter,
So
Peter, Peter, we need to know
I
the difference
I
between wyverns and dragons.
And then, of course, we have the grand headliner of the entire set, illustrated by Ted Naismith, one of what I refer to as the holy trinity of Tolkien artists alongside Alan Lee and John Howe. Ted Naismith doing Smaug here.
Is this
And
a new piece that Naismith did, do you know,
I
or is this a
think
reused asset?
I that is a great question. I should have looked that up.
And I'm also interested to notice, or I'm also
I
interested to
think it's
know
new.
if Naismith did the frame as well, because sometimes that's they get a different artist to do frames and they
Mm,
have the art. But this is such a complete composition that it
yeah,
leads me to believe that at the very least they were developed together. And Naismith
yeah.
may have very well done the frame as well.
I
I
would not be surprised if he did. Like, it's very much in his style.
Yeah. It looks very cool. I'll be honest, my first reaction when I saw this, I was not expecting it, and so I think that led me toward disappointment originally. I think that
Mm.
I was just so high on, "We're gonna have a headliner of The Ring this time," not
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, the poster art that was cool, but that came with the 2nd set when they were like, "Alright, we gotta push a little harder with the special treatments here." We had the cool versions that we got in the main set, and so I was just expecting some kind of insane looking version of the Precious.
Mm.
Once I've lived with it a little bit, and now hearing about, definitely your take on Smog being the headliner, literally and design-wise of the
Yeah.
set, I'm, a little more excited. I do think that this card's gonna look insane in hand. It looks like they've
Ye
utilized the multiple foilings that they've started
Oh,
using,
yeah.
multiple types of foiling. You see it most average person has seen it most recently on Silver Scrolls. They've got 2
Mm,
distinctly different types of foil on 1 card, and that's not something that they do very often,
okay.
especially for the broad applicability cards. You've seen it on some headliners like Sothera from Edge of Eternities, where they had different foiling treatments, and probably some other headliners as well, but you can almost see where you're gonna have sort of a solid gold under the type lines and in the name and text,
Mhm.
mana costs, but you're
Yeah.
gonna get different thing for the breath, for the fire there, and
Oh,
definitely a
yeah.
different texture for the frame. I'm just really excited about this card now. It's interesting because I started off so like, whatever on it, but I think it's
Yeah.
gonna look really cool.
I am so enamored with this card, and it makes me sad there's only gonna be, like, 500 of them made.
It's gonna be
So,
rare, dude.
yeah, I I opened way more, collector boosters than I care to admit for Lord of the Rings, and all the, serialized, dwarf, elf, and man rings, eluded me. So, I am
Maybe you
under
were
no
just charging up.
delusions.
Maybe you were just like
Maybe,
saving
like,
your energy.
because honestly, this this would be a much bigger deal for me, just as, like, what I'm a fan of in Tolkien than, like,
Sure.
an elven, dwarf, or man ring. Like, getting Smaug the Golden here, I know
Oh,
it's Smaug the Magnificent, but
this would be
this is,
so
like,
sick.
I'm
Yeah, I mean,
nicknaming this
you're in the
card
headliner
Smaug the
right now.
Golden,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
holy crap. If I pull this on a stream, guys, I will be freaking out. My hands will be shaking, the whole 9 yards. Like,
We've
I'll
already
be
got
losing my mind.
we've got our first bounty. Our first public bounty for this card already has been posted at 5 grand.
Oh, wow.
Cassius
Okay.
Marsh did post
It's
earlier
gonna go
yesterday, I
higher
believe.
than that. It's gonna go
I
higher than that.
think that 5,000 personally, I think that 5,000 is an incredible underball on this one, and
Yeah.
that this is easily going to be, I'm gonna say easily 3 or 4 times that, but
Yeah.
I honestly think it could be more, but we'll
Yeah.
see. It's not serialized, which does kind of poke
Oh,
it a little bit,
yeah.
but the Soul Stone and the Cosmic Stones weren't serialized either,
Yeah.
and that
Those
is
have been a
those
big
are
deal.
incredible collector
Ooh.
pieces, and so
Yeah.
when this card right now is like 1,200 and has been climbing as Marvel hype is
Mm.
riding back up,
Yeah.
this one is not even anywhere near as rare as this Smog is gonna be. And
Ooh.
so you're telling me that this is that card's only gonna be 3 times as expensive as this one? I don't think so,
No.
dog. I don't
I
think
think
so.
no. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be worse than that.
I think that has 5 digits written all over it.
I do
Yeah.
too. I do too, especially riding on the popularity of One Ring and
Mhm.
Lord of the Rings, and One Ring really played a part in putting Magic more on the map, and
Yeah.
so they're also Jank, that's a great point. The utility of this card, it's an incredibly playable card on
Mm.
top of it, and regardless of you're not gonna sleeve up, most likely, unless you're crazy ass, most likely you're not gonna sleeve up this Smog the Golden and go play at your locals with it.
Yeah.
But, um
If I open this one, maybe I'll bring it to, MagicCon.
You definitely should.
Wear it
You
as a
definitely should.
necklace. I'll
Yeah,
wear it
dude,
as a
absolutely.
necklace. There we
Logan
go.
Paul style. Last weekend, I watched Ben Bateman buy a serialized One Ring for his Gearson Starn deck, cracked it out of the graded slab that it was in, and then put it in an inner sleeve and put it in a sleeve and shuffled his deck. And I was like, "Whoa, dude,
Wow. Oh
crazy!"
my gosh.
So it
Yeah,
happens. It happens.
I don't think I could actually bring myself to do
No,
any of
no.
those
But
things that I'm
utility is
joking about. But
absolutely
yeah.
a player. Like,
Mm.
utility does add value to a card, even though you're not gonna actually be playing this copy of the card. You will you will see modifiers on prices. You'll see prices go up just because it's a playable card, to Jenks' point. So, there's a
Yeah.
lot working in favor of this card for sure, and you're telling me that Naismith is a legendary Lord of the
Yes.
Rings artist, so
Yes.
it's all there. It's all there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just gonna share this real quick, if I can pull it up. There we go. So there's one of Ted Naismith's, iconic, and you can kinda see the
I
resemblance
was gonna say
of
they
his
let
Smaug
him they were
here.
just like, "We love your design, let it
Like,
rip."
dude, yeah, like, go for it. Yeah. Um, I I love this. This is awesome. I love that it's so apparent that it is his style. It's fantastic. Like, it's a great choice. Like we were talking about earlier, the fact that Smaug is so heavy in this set and so at the forefront,
Yeah.
I think was a cool choice. And to have a Ted Naismith crazy gold treatment for Smaug as the big chase card, that's perfect. That's perfection. Like I said, I will lose my mind if I open this on a stream.
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah. Jank made a good point too. On top of everything else, it is a legend. And so while mono red is, you're limiting yourself to one color in a commander, you typically want multiple colors unless you're just doing something specific. Not that it's a deal breaker. I mean, treasures and flying and haste is a very strong archetype. You're going to have a playable deck. You could get this, slab it up, get it all protected, and then just it's in the command zone. You never shuffle it because it's a legend. It can just sit there and look pretty on the table. So not that it needed more plus points. It's getting more plus points as we speak.
Man, that'd be pretty awesome to throw this guy down.
Anything with the Hobbit set reveal that immediately is a disappointment for you, or like why aren't they doing that, or anything that looks confusing to you?
Real quick before I answer your question, I was gonna just address this. Why not play it? Because it would be a crazy expensive card if you were to sell it. So we're talking like, I mean, we were just hypothesizing like, yeah, this is gonna go up over 10 grand. That would be why. That would be
like
why.
It's like if this card was 10 grand, me even holding it right now, like I'm getting my oils on it. And I'm risking dropping it. Then
his dragon sweat is getting all over that card.
Right. I'm gonna give dragon madness to whoever holds my cards. And so you start doing this, and you're just looking at wear and tear, and that's before you start going, oh no, hang on, oh there we go, okay, I'm shuffled. Yeah, it's not the best idea to do that with 10 grand.
Right. Yeah. It's why you wouldn't hold a winning lottery ticket out the window as you're driving down the highway.
Yeah, you wouldn't keep it in your mouth to go to the store.
Right. I don't think, like, nothing mechanically or, card wise, it's still pretty early.
Definitely was early. This was a little glisten of information.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see, again, I'm going to be looking for, what are Thorin's other cards like? Like, does Thorin have multiple cards? We saw the one of him.
What characters are you hoping pop up that you're hyped on?
Definitely the other 12 dwarves. Like, and I would totally give bonus points if, some, we don't get like full rounded out characters of all the dwarves. Like, we know Bomber is fat and likes food.
Okay.
Like, that's
all right. That was going to be my next question. So like, how developed are they?
Yeah. A few have like some pretty well, set traits. The others, you have to dig a little deeper. So like, I believe it's Nori. Wait, no, not Nori. Dory.
One of the Oris, Corey or Rory.
Dory, Nori, or Ori. Yeah. Dory is frequently carries Bilbo. Like, when they're like escaping from something, he ends up with like Bilbo on his back like multiple times. And so I'm curious, will that show up in a mechanic? Will that element, like, will he give some help to halfling, creatures or something,
That is funny.
So things like that I'll be looking out for, because I love giving out bonus points for things like the missing scale, like the weak spot in his armor.
Absolutely.
I love those elements, and they did such a good job working those into Lord of the Rings. So yeah, characters, Beorn will be a big one for me. I'm curious if they do the double-sided card like they've done for a handful of previous sets. Like, I know some of my Avatar ones have that.
Yeah. Flip cards are pretty common nowadays.
Yeah. It seems like, in the years since I learned with Lord of the Rings, that's become more and more common. So I think Beorn would be a perfect one for that, because he changes into a giant bear. Like, what's, it's right there. So yeah. And even if we get separate cards of like Beorn man, Beorn bear, like, that's cool too. But Beorn's one, I'm looking for him to be a pretty beefy, powerful card, most likely. I'm just gonna be looking for like characters and moments. Like I said, like the dragon sickness one would be a pretty cool choice. What about you? Are you, what's your kind of first reaction? Anything that you're, super jazzed or taken aback, maybe not as sure on?
Yeah, so the primary one for me is, well, number one, I'm super excited to explore this set with you and
Yeah.
watch it through your eyes. That's been one of my favorite things with Universe Beyond. That was my favorite part of covering Turtles with you,
Yeah.
was getting basically like putting on fan binoculars and
Mm.
letting the fan show me what are the cool things to be excited about, and then getting excited about it with them. That is, I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, Primarily disappointed by the fact that there's no pre-cons for this. I am
Oh,
a
yeah.
little confused as to how you can have a set with four, well, I'll say three of the some of the three of the most revered really precons of all time.
Yeah.
And then there was the elf one also. And and not have a single one, not have a set like
Yeah.
the good guys and the bad guys, not have a
Right.
Thorn and Company. Jenk said it in chat, not having a Thorn and Company card with, you know, maybe
Yeah.
Gandalf as the commander, and have a Gandalf let we didn't get a Gandalf pre-con
Right.
last time around, and it would have been sweet to have a cool another Gandalf commander that cares about leading a bunch of dwarves on an adventure, you know?
Right.
So I think
That is a
that that's
great
a
point.
huge miss, is no
Yeah.
pre-cons for this.
I totally agree, and I will reiterate that. Like, I am in total agreement. I will co-sign on that. I was really hopeful that we'd get, you know, one, I thought it was a given that we would get a Smaug pre-con and that we would get a somebody on the good side pre-con where it was, like you said, Gandalf with all the dwarves, or just a Thorin is the commander and like dwarves all over,
Right,
oops, all dwarves
exactly.
commander deck or something. Um, so yeah, I'm really bummed about that because I do like the pre-cons. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I'm still hopeful, like, I know we haven't even seen all of this set yet, but I still think there's a lot of meat on the bone for Middle Earth in Magic because it works so well with Magic, and it's been really popular. Like I said, there's a treasure trove of stories and characters in the appendices, um, not even taking into account what's in Silmarillion that you could do. But just in the appendices alone, like the wider lore, there's bits of what we learn about Aragorn and the hobbits after the War of the Ring. After the end of Lord of the Rings, there's more stuff that you could play into with magic mechanics,
Right.
and not to mention artwork that would just, I think, make for just as successful of a set as Lord of the Rings and what Hobbit is turning out to be so far. We can see by how fast both of us were on Amazon when the listing was about to drop, and neither of us got a pre-ordered collector booster.
I had it open, chat. I was sitting there at the preview panel, like multiple people in chat, and Don was sitting next to me, had our phones open as the preview panel's going on before they even get to the Hobbit. Refresh, 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 refresh.
Yeah,
It's
I was
gone
doing the
before I
same
could
thing.
even get a collector box.
Yeah, I added it to my cart a couple times, but it was gone by the time I checked out. And I have like the express check. I'm like
Oh
checking out
yeah,
as fast as I can.
absolutely.
I think, I fear that the scalpers are gonna be a big part of it, which, because of how big Lord of the Rings was,
Yeah,
but even that aside, like, I had a feeling this was gonna be a very popular set, and so far, like, I think that's gonna come to fruition.
yeah, I agree with you. We have yet to see all of the special stuff. There's so much stuff that we know that they could utilize, that they could already call back to. The movie poster treatment from the second go on
Oh,
collector
yeah,
boosters,
the
like,
holiday one, yeah.
right, like that could be reused for any, right, an Arkenstone in that crazy 70s movie poster treatment would go
Mm,
so hard. Look at all the
y
colors they could use. So there's a lot left that they could do. We will see what they
mhm,
will do. We also know that, and have examples of, them cutting stuff this year because they legitimately had no other resources to get everything made that they are
mm,
making this year. 7 sets is unprecedented.
that's a
7
lot.
sets in 1 year. Crazy, not to mention all the secret layers. And so it makes sense when you start seeing Sets come out with one commander deck, no commander
Mhm.
decks. Especially since this is based on that small set model, that this
Yes.
will, I
Yeah, let's talk about
believe, be
that.
the last of. They originally designed this small set model, and they thought they had a huge hit on their hands. Apparently, all of the stories that I've heard were internally it tested great.
Mm.
Everything in development it tested great. And then the very first small set hit the market, and people hated it. The opening experience was awful. So much
Yeah.
repetition, opening a bunch of the same cards, and so nobody wanted to buy the packs. People just wanted the singles that they wanted, and they wanted to move on.
Yeah.
Turns out though that they had already like committed development to this small set model, and so Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed was the second one that
Okay.
really kind of got panned because people didn't like the opening experience. It just wasn't enough cards to feel legitimate.
Yeah.
Just didn't like the small set model. Then Spider-Man was kind of the, well, we adjusted some things, we kind of sort of brought it back.
Yeah.
Here's what we've got. And then it just ended up being 1,000 Spider-Men. Put more Spider-Men, we'll have a treatment, how about, of different Spider-Men. And,
Right. Yeah.
and then we got to Turtles, and they had a little bit more time to adjust
Mhm.
it. One of these, like, oh, it was designed as a small set from the beginning. They, it's got, doesn't have the same shortcomings that Spider-Man did. And it didn't. It did a better job of the collector
Yeah.
experience. Collector boosters of that, I personally think, are highly underrated, and people should
Yeah.
still
That I was gonna
be
say
excited to open them.
that was of the small sets you're talking about, that was easily my favorite
Right.
opening experience, whereas, like you're saying, the
I
others,
think it's a
it
definitive
was
opening
it
experience.
was
Small set,
yeah.
big set, doesn't matter. I think they
Yeah.
nailed those collector boosters.
Yeah, they're fantastic, and like you said, because some of the others, was having that exact same experience. I'm opening boosters, and it's like, it's just the same cards over
Yeah.
and over, and, like,
Yep.
it's really unfulfilling when you're not hitting those new cards, and,
For
like,
sure.
especially if you like collecting. So, like, I don't know if you've seen these. I'm so excited about these.
I
So
saw your video on these.
I
Yeah, they
got
are
these,
very cool.
and so I'm putting all my Lord of the Rings ones in these because it's like, it's a leather-bound book. How can you not love that?
Right.
But when you're, like, filling out a collection, and I know, like, singles, that's how you fill it out, but, like, it's good to know if you open a good number of boosters that you're gonna get a variety, and, like, the
Absolutely.
bulk of the work you feel like should be in opening those packs if you're opening a decent amount of them.
Well, in collector packs, you should not only get a variety of cards, but a variety of different treatments of cards.
Treatments,
And
yes.
so that is what they learned. I think that's what they nailed with Turtles, but they had stuff to lean on. You've got a huge commander deck with that
Mhm.
set, one
Yeah.
big 5-color commander deck. And so you can do alternates of those, and they chose to do foil alternates of those, just straight reprints of the cards in the deck, but they could randomly foil up.
Mhm.
That's a fun opening experience. Same thing with the pixel alternates of the commanders
Yeah.
from the commander deck. Having different chases is a huge deal. You don't have a commander deck or decks with this one to lean on in that regard. And
Mhm.
so for me, this one should lean heavily on reprints. If they want to make this basically just like Lord of the Rings, the victory lap with some new Hobbit cards thrown in, rock and roll, as long as we're getting good, solid reprints, good opportunities to buy in on things
Yeah.
like the One Ring and things like Orcish Bowmasters. I'm a
Mm.
little hesitant. I'm a little freaked out that that One Ring, regardless of the art, just as a game piece, is not going to be obtainable, and it's not going to move the needle at all. But
Ah.
I'm very hopeful that it's also going to pop up in a couple of different places and not just as a box topper. I think that would be disappointing, but it's looking like that may be the case. So we will see. I just want a novel
Well,
treatment of like Orcish Bowmasters and
oh,
One
yeah.
Ring. Really, like there's just cool card like Boromir. I play with Boromir a lot from the first
Yeah.
Commander set. I mean Commander set, Lord of the Rings set. There's just a lot of cards I want reprints of, specifically in that book cover treatment. But just any
Dude.
reprint would
Yeah.
be, that'd be
Can
great.
can I say one thing I noticed that's an absolute win is that this book cover treatment can be found in play boosters
Oh yeah,
and not just in collector. I
huge.
love that. That
The
is
way
massive.
they've done a great job of dividing up booster fun stuff, leaving foilings to your
Mhm.
collector booster has really worked for the market. Letting
Yeah.
people have access, even if it's rare, one per box or less kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Letting people have access to the bonus sheets in play boxes has been a excellent choice. I agree.
I love that because I get so excited when I get one of these cool treatment. Like when I open my play boosters and one of these pops out, I'm gonna be so freaking pumped.
Yeah,
And
dude,
like
same.
I love that that's not just a, you know, it's not just the most expensive product, you know, to find all the cool treatments.
Right, right. It's not even. It's like Strixhaven. Obviously, you can open the non-foil mystical archives in any of them, but they've got the Japanese and all the foiling relegated to the collector booster experience. But you can open up a mystical archive in any of those. But they've got the same thing for the special guests. I've opened up
Mhm.
a few special guests in play boosters across opening any packs that have had them, and that's always a really fun, thrilling thing too, especially in
Yeah.
like a limited environment.
Yeah. So talk about, you mentioned the real quick, before we sign off and everything, the size of this one,
Yeah,
you know, obviously it's a smaller one. We kind of got that, for those unfamiliar, you can kind of guesstimate based on the numbers of the cards. So like we see the special treatment here is 243. So you go back and look at previous sets. When do the special treatment cards start?
right.
What number is, green, I think, is the last of like the order they go. So you can kind of tell by like how many cards are in each
Yeah.
color, what the size is.
The internet
How
starts mapping sets very
Yes,
quickly as soon as we
right,
see
they
any
do.
cards.
Yeah,
Start
and I
making
love
these
that.
kinds of guesses.
I love that nerdy behavior that we're all part of. Um, so what do you think, what's the consensus so far on how this compares size-wise to Lord of the Rings?
It will definitely be a much smaller set. Lord of the Rings was a full-on supposed to be, or full-on was modern legal set. This is only going to be standard legal, and it is going to be a small set. From everything I can see and read and rumor up, this is the very last of the small sets, and we don't have these anymore. They have,
Mm,
you know, they've adjusted the pipeline because they Magic the Gathering operates on like to my knowledge like 2 or 3 year cycles. So if they get feedback today, it's going to be at least 2 years before we
yeah,
see that truly implemented. And so we're just toward the end of that at this point now, where we've adjusted off the small sets. This one will be padded out, hopefully in ways that they've learned successfully with TMNT, and that one was padded out in ways they learned
right.
successfully with Spider-Man working back, where you just get less and less successful as you work back, but they learn more and more every single time
Yes.
moving forward.
Yeah.
So hopefully they have learned all the tricks. They know how to make this a good opening experience and an exciting follow-up to one of the most beloved sets of all time. It's like whenever we end up getting a sequel to the Final Fantasy set, you just know
Oh,
they're gonna
yeah.
they've got to pull out all the stops, and you hope that they did that with this one, and they weren't too restricted by the
Mm,
fact that it was a small set and they only had so much way to be working in.
yeah.
Mark, I'm not sure exactly. So Mark Mason just said, are you suggesting that you think small sets won't be a tool and that all sets will be large going forward? It stands to be seen, and they might make another attempt at it. But right now, I think that they want to get away completely from anything having to do with small sets because of the stigma against them. They don't
Mm,
like, they need time as a company. You think about marketing moving like a big battleship. They need time as a company to distance themselves away from small set before they go back to it. And they call it a feature set or
mm,
a special, an insert set, right? Whatever.
mm. Yeah.
Maybe they go back around to it, but I think right now they want to get off it completely.
Angel said a Thranduil card would be great. I actually saw one of the Magic artists post, I think on Instagram. I've actually seen the Thranduil. It's out there. You can see Thranduil art made for this set. So there will be a Thranduil card.
Nice.
It looked he looked just as pompous as you would expect and hope him to look. So I'm excited for it. I think that seemed like a character that they nailed. Real quick, a couple scene boxes. These have are kind of a staple. I really enjoy these,
I
how they
love
put a scene
scenes.
together. So this is the unexpected party. You can see Bilbo looking very gruff about the situation, and all the dwarves feasting with his food. So that's one. The other is Bilbo and Smaug in Erebor here.
So cool.
And I always try to guess like what are the cards. So like this card up here has spears and stuff. This will have, I don't know, maybe it
It's a
could have
doorway, some sort of
doorway,
passage. Yeah. So if you
a
zoom in on that
shield
bottom right
here.
corner, Chad, if you're not familiar, this piece of art here that they've got on the scene box breaks out into 6 cards, and they make
Yeah.
a few of these for each universes beyond. And sometimes they'll even have them within the set as
Yeah.
4-card scenes or 9-card scenes. They do 4, 6, and 9 as their scene numbers. These scene boxes that they sell have 6 cards in them, and you can see. So we were looking up there at the top. He was pointing to like those spears or whatever. It's funny because if you look at it as a composition and you break it up into 6 even pieces, you're like, well, that's barely even anything. It's just some spears on a pile of gold.
But then when you actually look at it, it's like, oh no, like when you break it into a card, you can see it's framed,
Yep.
Quite well. And like Smaug obviously is this card. This card's Smaug, spoiler alert.
Gotta be. I would also say regarding these, very often they make 1 or 2 of the cards in these scene boxes quite pushed because they want people to buy them. They want people that only care about like card quality and card strength to buy all the products too. And so you've got a lot of times they'll put 1 or 2 cards in these scenes where commander players will look at it and go, oh, I definitely want that for a deck. And then ever since the Spider-Man one, they have had scene boxes where most of the cards are legitimately playable in some regard, in some sort of archetype. They may be specific or they may be even themed. Like a lot of the Avatar ones were all around allies. And so you're not going to play them outside of an ally kindred deck, but there's still very strong cards for those specific things. So they're also trying to make them playable is kind of the point, not just be a pretty thing to have on your shelf. But I've got the Spider-Man one right there behind me on the shelf because
nice.
I like the scene boxes. I think they're cool.
One last thing, I almost forgot to mention this. And we have plenty of time because this isn't coming out till 2027, but there will be a co-op box.
Oh yeah.
Which they had one for Ninja Turtles, and I don't know if you played it, but I loved it. Yeah.
One of my favorite new products of the entire year. Maybe going to be my new product of the year. We'll have to see. But Turtle Team Up has had me very pumped that they are actively in development on cooperative multiplayer experiences that aren't just the game. And this one, they didn't give us a ton of details. We only got to see the packaging for it, and they kind of roughly touched on it.
Yeah.
But this one looks to be a little bit more involved and hopefully themed around Commander or developed around Commander, I should say. I want to be able to run 4 bracket 3 Commander decks into some sort of raid, ongoing, one-off co-op experience of a deck that runs itself, some kind of game mechanics where it runs itself and we're all against them, much like Turtle Team Up. So I'm very thrilled. Battle of the 5 Armies, is that what it was called?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. That one is going to be very exciting, or I'm very excited about it. I'm hopeful that it's as fun as Turtle Team Up was. I'll take some custom decks in it, right? The Turtle Team Up custom decks, they're fine, and they're built at the power level to play around those.
Yeah.
I just think that that's got there's a lot of space in that for Magic to make products that people would be very excited about and would definitely buy. If you had some sort of like arch enemy, 2-headed giant, fully cooperative mashup thing develop out and it make it Commander playable. Oh baby. Oh baby.
Yeah. I am super pumped for that. My 3 boys and I played the Turtle Team Up and absolutely loved it.
It's so fun.
Doing the same with the Hobbit, because in my house, having 3 kids, 2 of whom are teenagers, like tempers can flare when someone's well-laid plans get torn to shreds by, say, the Witch King of Angmar or something.
Or a counterspell.
Or a counterspell, or who knows what, like there's stuff happens. Your plans don't work out, and sometimes if that's a pattern, it wears on people and tempers flare. So it's kind of awesome for us to have a co-op mode where we can just go up against a baddie that isn't gonna get grumpy if they lose, you know?
Completely agree. There is a thing called Horde mode that a lot of people already play that it could be based on.
Mm.
The World of Warcraft TCG had a great raid system that even had like prizes where you open up a booster pack and it was like dropping loot. You know, the loot booster pack could
Oh.
have random things in it.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, kind of an extra little touch there, you know, just like a raid in WoW. But it's something I'm very excited about, and I hope they keep pushing and keep developing that because I think that they saw that the response to Turtle Team Up was awesome, and
Yeah.
they just have to balance it so people can buy in when they want to, buy out when they don't want to, or not purchase when they don't want to. Have
Yeah.
any new things added on? You know, they do Arch Enemy, they do Two-Headed Giant, or not frequently, but um at some clicks. So they've got it
Yeah.
figured out over there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, I think that's gonna do it for today. This has been a much longer conversation than I thought we were gonna have, but we have our tangents, and this is a fun and exciting set for both of us, I think. Yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially after a double back-to-back con stretch here where you're pretty exhausted, I'm sure.
All
It's
good.
draining, but I
You're getting
appreciate
me
you
back to
taking out the
the
time.
computer is what you're doing. You're keeping
Oh,
me
okay.
from just being asleep this whole week. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Well, hey, yeah, two-headed hobbit. There we go, Mark Mason. Call it
I'm in on
two-headed
it.
hobbit.
I could
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, we could go for that. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We will definitely be Joel and I will definitely be teaming up some more in the lead up to this set. In the meantime, we'll be looking forward to some Marvel
Yep.
before this. But
Marvel's next. We've already got some stuff
yeah.
rumbling on that. Cool
Oh
things.
yeah. Go searching after which stone is it this time?
It is the Mind Stone this
Mind
time. We had the
Stone.
Soul Stone last time and Mind Stone this time. Last weekend, they did a big presentation completely
With Paul
around
Bettany.
Vision and brought
Yeah,
Paul Bettany on to put the
that's
Mind
pretty
Stone
cool.
into Thanos' gauntlet. It's pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome. Well, we'll be looking forward to that as we're also keeping an eye out for more. I'm sure there'll be bigger drops of things, and maybe we'll do
Certainly.
another one around that. But yeah, thanks so much to all the folks over on Joel's channel. Shout out to you. All the folks here on Nerd of the Rings. Shout out to you. And we'll see you next time when we talk more Magic the Gathering, The Hobbit.
Bye.